Welcome back to the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. We got Jason in the building, the chosen one. I am Greg, a legend in my own mind. We are back. We got Jason back, man. So
Yes,
Jay been on
sir.
vacation, man. He been traveling around the world, leaving it to your boy to carry the load. And I would say I carried it well, but now that he's back, he's about to carry the load. Jay, what's going on with you, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling, man. Good shit, man. Good shit. I was able to catch some of it. You did the
So first
damn
of all,
thing.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, Jason on you behind the scenes. Jason don't show me no love, guys. So this is all for you guys when he's saying you did your thing. Yeah, behind closed doors, it's I ain't shit, and that's true. It really is true.
Yeah,
So I just want to make sure you guys can hear us well, right? I always want to do that sound check first. Can you guys hear us well? All right, man. We good. We good to go. So, first of all, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Rock Dog Interactive. If you need anything from social media help to your websites, graphic designs, Rock Dog Interactive can help you. And then also, I want to show some love to our other sponsor, which is Black Father Figures. Black Fathers Matter. So I just want to read a little bit about Black Fathers since you guys haven't had the opportunity to know who that entity is. So Black Father Figures is more than just a community. It is a brotherhood of strong, resilient Black men. We are united in our determination to build invincible legacies that will stand the test of time, raise unbeatable families that will thrive in the face of any challenge, and produce generational wealth that will empower our descendants to establish their own empires. We invite you to join Black Father Figures. So Black Father Figures, that's something that's near and dear to my heart because I'm a Black father. And I know a lot of you guys out there are also Black fathers. We're going to have more information for you guys to have the opportunity to join Black Father Figures. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want to give a shout out to the people that are in the chat. T Ward, what's going on with you? Fat Cat, Jay, GA Peach. Who else we got in the building? Jonesy. Yeah, absolutely. We got the fam in the building. I know you guys got the opportunity to see the Mike Rhyme. Sorry. What's going on with you? I know you guys got the opportunity to see the fight last night. Jay, I know you didn't get to see the fight. And so we're going to start off in order of the fights from last night. So I'm going to start off with Boo Andrade. Okay. So we know that he was moving up to 168 pounds. Got the win. But for me, I felt like Boo Boo needed to put something on film, Jay. I felt like he needed to look dominant in this fight to get people interested in seeing Boo Andrade fight. And I felt like he didn't accomplish that last night. He won the fight. He won it. I mean, it was decisive, Jay. I mean, it's not like it was a close fight or anything like that. But I just felt like it wasn't the level of performance that's required in order to get people interested in actually seeing Boo Boo fight. And so those are my thoughts on it. I'm going to give you opportunity to talk about it, even though I know you didn't see the fight. Do you feel like Andrade really needed to put on a tremendous performance last night in order to get those bigger fights? Now, I think he's going to still get those bigger fights because people might be interested in fighting him now because he didn't look awesome or anything spectacular. But I mean, in terms of like really getting people interested in seeing him fight and making that money, I don't really think he accomplished what he set out to do last night. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we know KO sell, so he need to get a KO for sure. Him being off about a year and a half, I think that goes into it. He's never been like a knockout artist anyway. I always equate him to being kind of like Billy Joe Saunders, a better version of Billy Joe Saunders. Kind of slick, not really a punch of power. With him, he's tried to get big major fights in the past, just hasn't gotten them. So he definitely did make an impression on this fight here. I don't know if he did or didn't. Based on what you said, he controlled the fight, but he didn't get the knockout. We want to see a knockout. We want to see him do something impressive at the new weight class. And from what I read and what you told me, he really wasn't that degree. He wasn't like knocking someone out like a Mill, or a Spence or something of that nature there.
Exactly. I mean, he won the fight. The guy that was in the ring with him, fairly tough guy, talked a lot of shit, didn't do a whole lot in the ring. But Andrade did what he needed to do. He's going to move on, and I think eventually he's going to end up getting the fights that he really wants. He was never going to get Canelo, right? but he will get the opportunity to get the Benavidez of the world, the Charlos of the world, now that he's associated with the PBC. So I am excited about seeing him get the opportunity to get those fights. But outside of that, like really garnering that interest in Boo Andrade, I just did not see him accomplishing that last night. And
Yeah, I mean, no
so
one's going to get a Canelo fight unless you're a certain type of fighter.
fair,
You know,
fair. I know you hate Canelo, but that's fair.
hey.
So, I don't think there's a whole lot of I don't think there's anything else to really cover in terms of Boo Andrade. I mean, pretty straightforward. Felt like, he did what he needed to do in order to get the win, but again, wasn't necessarily as impressive as he needed to be. Now, Jay, I always felt like there was going to be an upset last night. I didn't know where that upset was going to come from, but we now know where that upset came from. And it was for our boy Speedy Rashidi Ellis. And yeah, man, you saw the message that I sent you yesterday, right from the second round. What did I say to you?
He don't look good.
I told you, yep. And I said, he's getting rocked. I think eventually this guy might catch him. And that's what ended up happening. Eventually, the guy ended up catching him. And Speedy is good, man. He was boxing early. Now, I'm going to say this. This is just my personal opinion. I do not believe that the judge's scorecard was correct yesterday. I do not feel like Speedy lost a lot of those rounds in the early rounds. I think he won the vast majority of them except one. So I still thought he was going to walk out of that fight victorious, even though he got knocked down twice. I was a bit surprised that he lost that fight. Would love to see a rematch. So I want to pass it to the chat since I know Jason didn't get the opportunity to see it. I'm going to come to you, Jay. But I want to see what's going on in the chat currently. Yeah. What do you guys think about Rashidi Ellis and the fact that he lost that fight? Jay, I know you said Ellis gassed out last night, and I think that's fair. And being off for so long, Jay, I mean, that can affect any fighter, right? He's been on the shelf for
definitely.
How long? Like, it's been quite a while since he's been. I know he was with Golden Boy, and they basically shelved him, and so he's been on the shelf for a pretty long time. But he looked good. And I don't know how long his training camp was, but I would have hoped that he would have been in the shape required in order to beat a fighter like this that he knew was going to pressure him the entire fight.
Yeah. So I mean, but when you've been out for that long, you're going to fight a pressure fighter. It's hard just to turn it back on like that. He's been out, a year and a half, 2 years. So I mean, that's going to be tough, especially when he doesn't have the necessarily punching power to keep someone really off him completely, like Villa was doing to him the other night.
Dog, that guy looked strong, Jay. When he was coming up and he was pressuring him, and he landed a few really hard shots in the first, 1 or 2 rounds. And I was like, wow, this guy looks pretty strong. And he was putting that pressure on Speedy. And I was like, man, you and I, we're always messaging during fights. That's all we do. When the fight is on, we're messaging going back and forth. And I was telling you, it was like, man, he doesn't really look that great right now. This guy's landing some shots. I wonder how long, before he really starts to walk him down. But then I told you, I said, well, no, the middle rounds, he's looking good. He's looking good now. So I think he's okay. But then that first prediction that I had came to fruition. He started to land toward the end and knocked him down, 2 times in the 12th?
Yeah, in the 12th. He got knocked down twice in the 12th. Now, based on what you were telling me and based on what I read on Bad Left Hook, he just seemed like, to me, it seemed like he was really just using his athleticism from what I read, based on some of the stuff he told me. He really wasn't being out of the ring that long. Also, just really focusing on, I think he really is overlooking this dude a little bit too, because it was probably coming easiest for him throughout most of the fight. He was talking about Boots a lot. He was talking about everybody else as well. So, I mean, but based on what you've told me, based on what I read, him losing the last 2 rounds, I don't see how he could lose that fight, even with getting knocked down twice in the 12th round. Because you score a fight off of each of the rounds, not just who did what the last round. So from where everyone said in the chat and what a lot of people said, he really won that fight, even though it was close, 114, 112. Most people had it like that, but I don't know.
Bro,
when I watch it, it's going to be interesting.
I didn't score the fight, but in my mind, there's no way he lost that fight. I thought he probably would have won it by maybe like 2 points or something like that, just based off the 2 knockdowns in the 12th round. His corner was telling him that he needed a knockout. So everybody thought that he was losing that fight. So I'm surprised that the judges had it scored the rounds in the way that they did in the first few rounds that would have allowed him to actually win the fight. I mean, that's just crazy to me. Let me pause really quickly and say shout out to Wise Hudson. Yeah. I really appreciate that, man. Every little bit helps. Thank you so much. And if you haven't had the opportunity, wise, to subscribe to the channel, please do so. And guys, we have 58 people in the building, 30 likes. Please get those likes up if you can, or hit the dislike button. And also subscribe to the channel, man. We're always dropping content. And before I go on any further, I got to give shouts out to T Ward and the Mic Check podcast. That is a sister channel to AM Sports Media. Please go over and subscribe to the Mic Check podcast. So, Jay, where does Rashidi Ellis go from here, bro? Because I thought he was going to be in line for maybe, challenging Boots, which we got to get into Boots. But I thought he was going to be in line to challenge Boots or put his hat in the same ring as those guys that are vying for becoming the top fighter at 147 pounds. And now he's set back. It feels like the next step for him is to try to get a rematch with Villa. What are your thoughts on that?
Hell yeah, I want that rematch. I sent you the picture of the video of him at the decision, and he was just like, he was so shocked. As most people in the chat said, that Ellis won this fight, or at least a draw at the bare minimum. So, I'm going for a rematch. And I think this right here, I think he probably needed something like this to happen because he was getting full of himself and he was overlooking this guy pretty much. Although he was dominating the fight for the first 9-10 rounds, you got to finish the fight. For shit like this don't happen. We know judging in boxing is horrible. It's been like that since the very beginning. It's gotten even worse now. So you can't leave it in the judge's hands to rob you. You can't let a close fight be there. You can't even let this fight, although everything I read, it wasn't close. You can't let it be in the judge's hand, obviously, because they're going to take it from you. So if I'm him, I'm going for this rematch, and I'm going to try to put this dude out.
Yeah, he needs to go for the rematch. And, I felt bad for Rashidi Ellis last night. Honestly, after the fight, it looked like he was ready to cry. And I felt that pain because I think he thought he was going to position himself to make the next move. He's been on the shelf for a long time, messing with Golden Boy. Now he's with Al Heyman, or at least he's fighting on PBC and Showtime cards. And then he gets this setback. So it's got to be devastating for a guy like this. I would like to see him get this rematch. I think he could easily win this fight, just making a few adjustments. But at the end of the day, I think he possibly took this guy too lightly, and maybe he had a little bit of ring rust, and maybe that affected his performance in terms of his endurance. But he's going to have to get back into that lab, man, and really just sharpen his skills and get himself prepared, man, to go to the next level. Those are my thoughts on that. I don't know if anybody else want to say anything in the chat section on that. Let's see what we got in the chat very quickly. Yeah, I don't think
everyone's saying he needs to sit down on his punches. I heard from what I read, I heard Ellis got a dynamite jab. I heard that jab kind of like Haney with the jab.
Yeah,
so
he's
I heard
good,
he got
man.
a good jab.
No, he's good. He's fast. He's quick. Great movement. But I just think that level of movement with a guy that was just stalking and stalking and stalking him and stalking him. Man, when you just moving and moving and moving like that, eventually a stalker is going to catch up with you. He's going to start landing in the later rounds. So what do you have at that point once you're tired in order to keep that stalker off you? That's very important. And I felt like, again, I think he won. I think he won last night. Even with the 2 knockdowns at the end, I think he won. But, he just needs to go back to the lab, try to get a rematch. And the guy seems like he's willing to give him a rematch. And that would be a great fight. I would love to see that rematch. I think everybody in the chat would love to see that rematch as well.
Now tell me this, Greg. On the flip side, if you're Villa, would you give him a rematch?
He already said he'll give him a rematch. Said it in the ring.
Oh, he did? See, if I'm Villa, I'm saying I'm not giving him a rematch. I want that next one. I want that Boots fight so I can get to the IBF.
Yeah. He might well go and get he might want to go ahead and just go ahead and get that smoke again with Ellis, because
he should.
He don't want none of that big fish. He don't want none of that big fish. So let me pause very quickly, Jason, and give again some shout outs and love to our sponsors, Rock Dog Interactive and Black Father Figures. Also, if you haven't had the opportunity yet, we got 83 people in the building. Please hit the like button or the dislike button if you don't like the content. But the like button does help people find this content. And also subscribe to the channel. And also, if you get the opportunity, please go and check out the Mic Check podcast, T Ward and Q. That's like a sister channel to us. And you'll see them on our channel. And we're always on their channel as well. So, Jay, anything else we want to cover in regards to Rashidi Ellis? Because I know a lot of people are probably itching to get into the meat. And guys, We're at 18 minutes right now. We're going to open up the phone lines, and the first person that I expect to call, the first call that I'm going to accept is Brenda. Brenda is going to be
Brenda
the
calling
first
in.
call that we said. I got to accept. Brenda was the reason why we did the call-in show. She has to be the first person that called on this particular show. So, anything else we need to cover, guys?
No, it's just I see everyone said it about the fight. Everyone had Ellis win this fight, even
I thought
despite
he won,
knockdowns.
bro.
I haven't seen one person say no. Said Villa won this fight. Not one.
He didn't win the fight, bro. He got those last. He won the last 2 rounds, and then he got the 2 knockdowns. So yeah, I mean, he would have had a 10-7 round, and then he won the round prior to that 10-9. But he didn't win this fight, and I thought I gave him 1 round. I think I might have gave him the 2nd round, but everything in between he lost. So Ellis won this fight, but it is what it is. Every fighter is going to have a step back in their career, and this is his step back. And so he's just going to have to figure out how to, regroup, go back to the lab, get better, and get a rematch with this guy. And if he comes back and just really works this guy over and really kicks his ass, then everybody will just look at this as a blip in the road, and we'll move on to the next. But at the end of the day, we just got to stop treating these fighters like a loss is an indictment. A loss is like defining your career and you can't come back from. It's absolutely not true.
No.
And I feel like Rashidi Ellis can get himself back to the level that he was once at, and it can also reach a higher level. He's just got to get back in the lab and make sure that he's doing the right things.
Yeah. Oh, Brenda says she can't do it today.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, Brenda. It's all good. So then we just going to take calls. But Brenda, it's all love. I appreciate you for suggesting the idea. Jason Williams, what's up, man? Jason in the Williams, he's one of our biggest critics, but he's always showing love at the same time.
All right, Brenda.
Okay. So Jay, let me ask you, man, do you want to go ahead and transition into the meat? Because I did a few videos that some people felt were a bit controversial. Jay, I don't know if you would have agreed with the videos that I did this week. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. I saw people agree to it. I saw people that did not agree. But I think a lot of what we've done this week, and I think the fight last night, they kind of all tie in together. So do you want to go ahead and make that transition now, or is there anything else you want to cover in terms of the first 2 fights?
Only thing I'll say about Ellis is, only one person I saw him, Fat Cat, said he had a draw. I think sometimes a loss like this can actually make a fighter better. I hate to lose, but sometimes you have to learn from your losses. Ellis, I think he was just too far looking beyond this fight. You got to take care of the business in front of you before you can get to the business on the other side. So I think this will make Ellis a better fighter. It should make him a hungrier fighter. So if he comes back, he has to kick this guy's ass. But that's all I got on that one.
Yeah. Deuce Daly, that will be an interesting fight. So now we're going to transition to Jaron Boots Ennis. And Jason, you and I, since we started this channel, we have said that we feel that Jaron Ennis has all the tools, he has the size, he has the speed to eventually become the best at welterweight. Jaron Ennis also feels that he has the size, the tools, and the skills to be the best at welterweight. And not only that, Jaron Boots Ennis says that he is the best fighter in the world. And a lot of his supporters feel that he is the best fighter in the world and the best talent over the last 10 years, right? So he's like a generational talent. And you and I have said on multiple occasions that we've seen some flaws in his game and that we have to see him in the ring with better competition before you start to see some of those flaws get exposed. And so and let me preface my comments by saying this, Jason. Boots clearly won that fight last night. And if you're measuring it against any other fighter, you would say that's a good win for a young up-and-coming fighter. But because Boots has been placed on a pedestal so high that we are now saying that he's a generational talent and that we are saying that he would wash everybody at welterweight, that makes you measure him and grade him differently, right? That's with any athlete. It always works like that. And so when you look at Boots and his performance yesterday, in the amount of times that he walked in with his hands down, And if this guy would have had any power in any range, he would have connected clean. He could have got it. I mean, he could have really wobbled him. And the amount of times that Boots Ennis threw a leaping hook that missed wildly, so much so, Jay, that he literally, like kind of twirled himself around like he was Michael Jackson. It looked totally amateurish. I mean, it looked absolutely amateurish, Jason, those events. But he clearly won the fight. Can we now say that Boots Ennis is a good fighter? He has all of the clay required in order to be that masterpiece that we want him to be. Again, the size, the skills, the speed, the power. But he's not necessarily this revolutionary type of fighter. This fighter that just transformational, just this type of fighter that's just at this level that we haven't seen before. He's a young fighter that needs to develop his skills. That's who he is. All this shit about he'll go in there and he'll wash Errol, he'll wash Virgil, he'll wash Crawford. I don't believe that. I never believed that. But now I think we have evidence, and people were saying that, oh, well, this guy just moves a lot. He was in survival mode. But we've seen other fighters that are in survival mode that fighters have looked better against. You think Floyd, who I consider a generational talent, you think Floyd would have looked like that last night? I think not. Floyd Mayweather would not have looked like that last night. So Tank Davis would not have looked like that last night. So all this generational talent stuff, he's a good young fighter. Let's treat him as a good young fighter. That's what he is. And he has potential to take over the welterweight division. He has potential to be the next pound for pound best fighter in the sport. But let's stop saying that he's that now. He is not that now. So, Jason, that's how I feel about it. Maybe I'm an asshole. You would say so. Maybe a lot of people in the chat would say that as well. But that's how I feel. And before I pass it to you, Jay, appreciate the love, man. Jay comes in, man, and he gives a lot of great insight. Let me just read what he says. Salute, fellas. Boots This is lackluster because his camp willingness to prepare for an opponent. On top of that, it took them too long to attempt to effectively cut off the ring. Jay was on the fight, the watch party that we had last night. And we were talking about that. I mentioned that on the fight party last night. All of this stuff about we don't look at film. I assess the opponent, during the fight, and then we make the adjustment. That shit works for tomato cans. That shit does not work for elite fighters.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. So I know I'm a bit animated right now. I do not like when trainers tell me that they don't watch film. I don't care. The more film that you watch, the better prepared that you're going to be. And yeah, a fighter could potentially do something different than what they would normally do in a fight. But at the end of the day, how fucking likely is that to happen, Jason? You are who you are. You're not going to present something that's much different than who you are in the ring. So all this shit about, oh yeah, he could come and be something completely different. In what universe does that happen?
No,
we
that's
are
fine.
who we are. We do what we do. So I'm sorry, Jay. I'm hogging it, bro. It's your way.
I see you passionate about
Go ahead
this.
and you. Let's go. It's your world, bro.
Nah, you're right. I mean, I don't care, that a fighter can adjust and do something completely different that you train for, but at least train for it. You train for it. Then during the fight, you adjust as well. You look at tendencies. That's what you do. That's what you train for. In any sport, you look at your opponent's tendencies to capitalize off of that. You don't sit there like,
absolutely,
I'm so good, I don't need to watch him. I just do this in the ring when I fight him.
Exactly.
Nah, I'm not gonna put myself at a disadvantage. If I see you dropping that left hand every time you do this, or you move your foot a certain way, I'm gonna look for that.
Exactly.
I mean, it frustrated the hell out of me when they said we don't watch fight. Well, actually, Boo said he doesn't watch that. His team watches a fight for him. I'm like, no, you're the one that's in there making a fight. You're the one that's in there with this dude. Your team isn't. They can give you so much.
Bozy doesn't. He's the lead trainer. He doesn't either.
That's frustrating as hell.
Brothers do. From what I'm understanding, the brothers do, but Bozy doesn't. I don't understand it, and I'm Team Ennis. I like those guys, very humble guys. But come on, man, like stop with all this savant shit. Everybody's not a savant. It's okay to be a type of person that you need to be prepared in order to be your best self. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's just me being always a defensive minded person. Even when I played sports, football, anything like that, as a DB, you study film, you study how to receive, you study down and distance. No different in boxing. You study how this guy, okay, every time he does the 1-2, every time 1-2, and he drops the right hand. That's your opportunity. You look at
Yeah,
tendencies. That's all. That's what you
absolutely.
do. I mean, nah, man, it's just crazy. I mean, think about what happened with when Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez. What happened?
Yeah.
Marquez had practiced that punch every time in training because they saw
He
that.
saw
They
something.
saw that
He saw
tendency.
something.
They saw that.
Yes.
So he got him out of. That's how he got Pacquiao up out of there with that punch. He had thrown it several times in that fight earlier. So for Boots camp to say they don't really watch film is frustrating as hell. I think Boots has talent. He has potential, definitely. But you gotta correct those mistakes there. I can't wait to see this squirrel because I don't know if anybody else is watching. My wife got me watching Sisters, and there's a scene where Calvin got in a fight,
Your punk
and he did
ass.
the twirl. Hey, wifey got that show up. He did a twirl. That's what that makes me think
Your
of.
punk
So
ass.
shut the hell up, man.
Hey man, one thing I want to say very quickly, and I want to throw this to the chat. And before I say that, we got 144 people in the building. We got 55 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit that like button. And if you don't like the content, hit the dislike button, but make sure that you're interacting. And also subscribe to the channel, the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media. We're always dropping content. And oh, by the way, we got a sister channel, the Mic Check Podcast, T Ward Q. Go subscribe to their channel as well. Bro, the strategy. There was no strategy last night, Jason. Like when you watch that fight, me and you, we got to trade notes. I saw no strategy from Boots yesterday. I didn't know what the hell he was trying to accomplish at all. Like he was just going in there. It's like, I'm going to throw this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But there was no overall strategy because they didn't prepare for the fight. And that's an issue, bro. That's a challenge. So I want to throw that to the group, to the people that are in the chat. Did you guys notice that? Boots felt like a boat that was out to sea with no sail. He was just all over the place. He didn't know what direction he was going in. And that's how I felt about it. And that's why he looked like he did last night. He's got to get better at game planning. You go in there and you go in the ring with Terence Crawford. You go in the ring with the big fish. I'm talking about even Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is much more rangy than Karan was last night. And it has much more power. If that would have been Virgil Ortiz in that ring last night, Boots' ass would have been in trouble. In trouble. And I don't care what anybody says. Generational talent or not, that performance last night, he would have been in trouble.
Yeah. I think Boots was talking about getting a knock. He was worried about the knockout so much. You go search for a knockout, lots of time you get knocked out yourself. You know, plenty of fighters will say that, and it's been proven true. You know, so I mean,
Absolutely.
I think he kept talking about Tyson. You're not Tyson. You're Jaron Boots Ennis. Be the best Jaron Boots Ennis you are. You can still take and steal stuff from other fighters, but that's not going to necessarily always be your resort. You are Ennis. You're not Tyson. So I think he also folded under the big light. You know, this was a big spotlight for him. And I think he actually folded under pressure. He wanted to knock this guy out. He fought that was running, and he didn't know how to cut the ring off.
Man, I don't agree with that. He folded under pressure. He didn't know what to do. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you out.
I mean, but that's the same thing. He didn't know what to do. Folding up. I think he knows what to do. I think he folded under pressure. I think this was definitely. I hope this was a blip for him, a one-off, and a good look, of course. So his next fight, he has to show improvement. He has to show this was a blip. He has to show that, look, I was only focused on knocking this dude out. This dude was in survival mode, and I wasn't even thinking about cutting the ring off.
But Jay, people keep talking about that survival mode stuff, and that makes me mad. Even when Karan was not moving, Boots could not land anything cleanly. That dude was slipping a lot of his shots, bro. Like he wasn't landing. He wasn't landing even when the guy wasn't moving. So we got to stop making these excuses for these guys, man. Period. Like he is a good young fighter.
You know what it was?
I think he. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Boots was basically like Devin in Drumline. Remember when he came out there? He had that solo. He froze. He was a deer in headlights, pretty much.
I don't
A
think
deer
he
in headlights,
folded though.
man.
Just basic what I saw from him is not a fighter that the pressure was too much. I saw a fighter that believed in his skills, but the skills were not up to par or the skills were not at the level that he thought. That's what I saw. You guys tell me if
But
you saw something different. If you guys in the chat feel like you saw a guy that just froze, or did you see a guy that really his skills weren't at the level that everybody thought his skills were necessarily at, and that he needs to get back in the lab and improve on his skills instead of believing the hype that people have given him?
yeah, I mean, he still won the fight. He didn't win the fight in the way that everyone wanted, nor the way he talked like he was going to win the fight. So I think that's where all the criticism comes from. He kind of brought on himself by not performing, by underperforming to the standard that everyone put out there for him, and he put out there for himself. So he won the fight, but he showed a lot of flaws out there in his game that we hadn't seen before. And we've always said we want to see him fight a better fighter. I mean,
Totally.
was he a better? How much of a better fighter was he than his prior fights? You know, this dude
I
just knew
don't
how to
know.
slip.
I don't listen, Jay. Yeah, I know you haven't seen the fight. This guy was better than I thought he was going to be. To me, his style was not a typical Eastern European style. You don't really see a lot of Eastern Europeans using that much movement. So that gave Boots some problems. But again, Jay, even when he wasn't moving, man, Boots found it hard to actually hit him solid. Again, when you're not a tomato can, it's not as easily to throw all of. I saw it in Boots' eyes, Jason. He was throwing some of those combinations, and at the end of that combination, you could see in his eyes, like, hold up, you're supposed to be down now. Usually, when I throw this combination, the opponent is down. But when you're not in the ring with a can, that doesn't happen. We got to stop anointing these fighters like they're the next best thing before they've actually approved it in the ring. We are too anxious to say that we have a generational talent on our hands when we and not allowing these fighters to actually develop and become what we hope they will be. So those are my thoughts on that.
I mean, I can't wait to see the fight in full totality just from reading what I read on Bad Left Hook, and based on what you said and what is going in the chat, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing this fight now.
Yeah, man, you got to watch it, man, as soon as possible. So I'm gonna pause right here very quickly. We got 150 people in the building. Shout out to the 150 people that are in the building. We got 67 likes. Please, if you get the opportunity, hit the like button. It helps other people find this content. We're gonna open up the phone lines very soon, Jay. But we got one more topic that we got to cover first before we open up the
My
phone
boy.
line. But here's one thing I want to say though. God damn, you a homer. So as far as so there's levels to this, Jason. There are levels to the fight game. And if you look at the last two fights, you saw two fighters, Tank Davis and Jaron Boots Ennis. And you saw the difference between the levels, Jay. You saw the difference between the levels. Tank had a fighter that was doing something similar to Karan, but what he was doing was he was being rangy. He was using his range. He was using his size to make it difficult for Tank to get on the inside. You saw one fighter be extremely patient, make sure that he started to set up his shots and get to where he wanted to get to. And you saw another fighter that could not figure out a way to set this opponent up to get his shots off, even though he had every physical advantage in the ring over his opponent. He was bigger, he was longer, he was faster. Tank, although faster, probably more power, was not the bigger fighter, but still got his opponent up out of there, whereas Jaron Boots Ennis could not. You're seeing the difference in levels in fighters. There is a difference. So don't tell me that Jaron Boots Ennis is a generational fighter, because if that's the case, then Tank Davis must be the next coming of Jesus, the way he fights, period. You feel what I'm saying, Jay?
Yeah, it's just it's disappointing in Boots' performance. You know, on the expectations we set for him and the expectations he set for himself. He said it. He set the stage to be huge, to steal the show, to get this kid up out of there within 6-7 rounds, instead of missing shots, showing a lot of flaws, getting hit with shit at times, and not knowing how to set traps and cut the ring off. Those are things that the elite fighters do. The Buds, the Spences, and what even and Mel and whatnot. Those are what elite fighters do. He wasn't doing that. And the only thing we can do is his next fight, he has to show improvement. He has to show these flaws. This was a blip. You know, like I still say, the big lights, it'll make you forget all your training. It can make you freeze. It can make the best
All
freeze.
that sparring shit, right? I was the best. You saw what I did to him in sparring. It's all different up under the lights. It's all different when an opponent has had the opportunity to actually prepare for you. So don't miss me with the sparring. That's it. Oh God, I can't go down that path. Okay, Jay, let's talk about Tank Davis. Trill Hill, salute my brother. Salute. Let's talk about Rayon Boykin, salute. Let's talk about Tank Davis because we kind of made that segue in the last comment that I made. Tank fighting against an opponent who was clearly bigger. And I was surprised that he was so much bigger than Tank. I did not anticipate him being that much bigger than Tank. At the weigh-in, he did not look that much bigger than Tank. Tank, in my opinion, found it difficult to get on the inside in the first couple of rounds. I saw Tank starting to really warm up in round 3 and 4, getting more aggressive, starting to throw more shots, starting to figure out ways to get on the inside. Now, it's my opinion that if Tank would have used more feints, Tank would have found it much easier to get on the inside of Hector Garcia, and would have had the opportunity to knock him out a lot faster. Because I'm sorry, Tank is so fast, any kind of feint that he's throwing out there, you're going to have to react to it. You got to respect it, the power, the speed, you have to react to it. I'm starting to develop my man crush on Tank Davis. I like what I'm seeing from Tank. All he has to do now is to get in the ring with Ryan Garcia, take him out, and then face Devin and Shakur. And I'm not saying that he's going to beat those guys, but the level of skills, the patience, the ability to make adjustments. I like what I saw from Tank last night. Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
Let me pause you real quick to go to the chat. Someone said Bud and Wilder are similar because they're knocking everyone out. I think it was Crypto.
And that at all. I don't understand that at all. A similar how? Not fighting style.
Because he said they're saying they're both KO artists.
Bud is not a KO artist. As a KO artist. So how Bud gets his KOs is by counterpunching. So
no. How he gets his KOs by that competition is not up to par.
So that's a part of it, but also just catching his opponents where they do not see it, and that's how he gets his opponent up out of there. And I would say Sean Porter is a good opponent that he was able to stop. So I feel like he catches his opponents with counter shots. Wilder, it doesn't matter if he's countering you or not. Wilder can punch through your guard and knock you the fuck out. Period.
Yeah.
So those are not the same things. But anyway, let's make that transition back to Gervonta Tank Davis.
So you on the Tank side now. Welcome.
Hey, so hold on, because you've made that assertion in a lot of videos. I'm tired of you making that assertion. So number one, I have been on the side of Tank Davis from day one. That's number one. He's just not my favorite fighter at 135 pounds, but I'm definitely on the side of Tank Davis. I like all those fighters at 135 pounds in 140, except Ryan Garcia. I don't like his ass. But anybody else, I like. So let's kill that noise. Go ahead, man.
Thank you for coming to the light. You talked shit about Tank. You said Tank. He struggled here. He struggled there.
He did. No, he did.
He struggled. Rolly was getting in his ass. Tank is boxing people. He's taking his time.
I disagree.
Methodically.
No, I don't.
I haven't seen this fight last night.
I don't disagree that he's taking his time, but the range does give him problems with his size. That's not me. That's just an honest assessment. I'm just not a homer like you. So go ahead.
I'm not a homer, but think about it. Tank has been
your homer.
So everyone has range and size over Tank. Almost every fight, he's been the smaller guy. He hasn't had the range over anyone except for Isak. That was the only one he had the range and the size on.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't look at him, someone having range or size on Tank as a problem, because that's what Tank is all he's ever known. You know,
it depends on the opponent.
Heavyweights. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the opponent. What the opponent that opponent brings to the fight.
Listen. Mark my words. Tank Davis' first several rounds against Ryan Garcia will be challenging because of the size, the range, the speed, and the power. It will be a challenge for him. Now, will he answer that challenge? Absolutely. But it will be a challenge. And it's okay to say that our fighters, the fighters that we like, are not going to just wash everybody. That's okay. That's okay. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I shouldn't interrupt you.
I don't see Tank. I think you're looking at as what Ryan can bring to the table that you say Tank might struggle, have a problem with. I just see it as Tank just taking his time with Ryan. I really don't think. I mean, Ryan has some pop. Don't get me wrong. He has some pop, and he's quick. But I don't think it's anything that Tank hasn't sparred against or hasn't seen before. Honestly, because I mean, I don't believe in Ryan at all. I don't believe in Ryan. I don't see him holding up and taking punches too much from Tank. He can't get that Tank touch him. Tank touch him, he's going down. I don't see Ryan taking that at all. He's going down.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. I just, again, Tank Davis, in my opinion, he's what you would call a level above. He's that next level. And you remember when, Mayweather and Pacquiao were in the game, and then you had people like Tim Bradley. It was clear to me, like, your Tim Bradleys in the world, even though they were winning these certain types of fights, they were a notch below. Like, there were certain levels that you had to attain. And in my opinion, Tank is on that next level, right? And we'll see if people like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney on that next level. But we gotta start making sure that there's degrees of separation. We got to start making sure that we delineate between those degrees of separation. And that's my thing. So Tank, successful win. Like I said, started closing the distance, figure out a way to close that distance. And Hector Garcia, I'm gonna throw it to the chat. I felt like Hector might have quit last night, man. I think Tank was throwing a lot of power shots, and some of those power shots that we think didn't really cause that much damage had really gotten Hector's attention. And then I think when he got hurt in the 8th round, I think he was really out of there. And I just feel like he just made a business decision to say, you know what? Let me wash my hands of this shit. I can go ahead and fight another day. I'm a champion at 130 pounds. That's how I felt about it. But, and Jay, I know you haven't seen the fight. I'm wondering what the chat thinks about that comment. Oh, GAPs. That's interesting. I feel that Derrick James was watching Tank for potential Frank. I would love that fight.
But he also,
tremendous fight.
DJ being there, he's got to see Boots struggle, and he got to see things that he could capitalize with Spence as well if they were to make it up.
Oh man, so if I'm Boots Ennis team, I'm telling, hey man, let's go find somebody else for you to fight. We can't take you out in the deep water where the big fish is. You might get drowned.
Yeah. I read something that they said Hector said he couldn't see after in that.
Yeah, he knocked the sight out of his eyes. I was like, damn, Tank right here collecting eyes.
He tried to be like EJ.
Yeah, at the end he said he could see again, so I couldn't really give Tank the benefit of collecting that eye. But man, he knocked his ass senseless. That motherfucker said he ain't know where he was. Hey man, I ain't know where I was. That motherfucker said, I don't know where I'm at.
I'm proud for what Tank was able to accomplish despite all the shit that he was going through within the last 10 days. It's easy for anyone that could have gotten, upset like Ellis did or look really bad like Boots did, So, but Tank to stay focused and to really go through and by what I read and what I've heard, punish Hector and just straight box him, just put on a nice little clinic. I give Tank a lot of props for that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, Mr. Kennedy said that he asked his coach, did he get knocked out? Shit.
Tank got them things. That's why Ryan cannot afford to get touched by Tank at all. He keeps that chin up. He going straight the hell down.
Hey, Jason Williams said Hector wasn't blind. He saw the light. He wasn't going to win, and Tank was coming on strong. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Hector realized that he wasn't fighting a little shit hop. He was fighting a real fighter in there. He was fighting Tank.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Rayon Boykin, I was disappointed in his performance last night as well. So, Jay, we've covered everything. I think we've had the opportunity to say what it is that we wanted to say. I've been very passionate about Boots
Hey,
Ennis.
check
What
out
happened?
Jonesy. Jonesy said Tank Stevie wondered him.
Yeah.
Yo,
So we've
wow.
had the opportunity to kind of give our thoughts on everything. Let me pause very quickly before we go to the lines because that's the next step for us. But I want to give some love to Rock Dog Interactive and Black Father Figures. Those are our two sponsors. We're very appreciative of our sponsors. So go check those guys out, Rock Dog Interactive and Black Father Figures. We're going to have more information on Black Father Figures here very, very soon. All right, man. So, guys, it's time for you to become a part of the show. And I got the line up. I got the number posted. I am going to copy this number and I'm going to drop it into the chat. And I'm really interested in hearing what the people in the chat have to say. And I also we got 143 people in the building. We got 82 likes. If you haven't had the chance yet, please hit that like button. It helps people find the content. And also subscribe to the Angry Man Podcast or AM Sports Media. That's our channel. And by the way, the Mic Check Podcast, that is the sister channel to AM Sports Media. Also, go check them out and subscribe. So who's going to be the first one to call in? Jay, while we're waiting, man, when do you think you're gonna get the
I'm just going through the
opportunity
chat.
to when do you think you're gonna get the opportunity to see the fight?
I'm hoping to see if I can catch it tonight or tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping.
Slacker.
Hey man, I was out at sea.
Man, where did y'all go?
Oh, we were at
Oh, we got somebody calling in, Jay. We got somebody calling in. You are live on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Who we got in the building?
Man, I got Keith from Chicago, man. Love you brothers' content. Just want to speak a little bit about Boots. I've watched him a couple times. He gets hit a little too much for me. His defense not as solid.
Yeah.
So I think that in boxing, man, you got to have some defense, man. He get hit a lot. He looks good. He passed the eye test, man. But I don't know. I think with defense, you have to have defense. I don't think that you can pick up defense. So as he started to move up in caliber of opponents, man, he ain't gonna be able to knock everybody out. You know, is he gonna be able to dig deep? So I want to see how he reacts when he get hurt. Right? He hasn't been hurt yet. So
absolutely,
we've seen all the great ones get hurt and dig down deep inside. So I want to see how he responds because he came out to a roaring crowd. They kind of booed him a little bit, right? That does a little something to your psychic, man, when you get booed. So I started to see him. He got booed. He started to get sloppy. He started taking a lot of chances.
Yeah.
That guy hit him with some nice counter punches, right? So I wonder if this guy had some pop. He could have done some damage to Boots. So
absolutely,
Boots has a lot of work to do, right? I think you guys made great points. He was unable to cut the ring off, right? When you start talking about the Ray Leonard and the Floyd Mayweather, them guys know how to cut the ring off, right?
Absolutely.
So he kind of showed some amateurish. I think, Brother Greg, you spoke to it. If I'm Boots Ennis' team, we are not going nowhere near Errol Spence because Errol Spence hits hard. You know?
Absolutely.
I think they have a better chance with Bud, but not Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a middleweight that's fighting at welterweight. So I think now they're going to have to say, hey, Boots, we're going to have to be quiet a little bit because you may get hurt with Bud, especially with Errol Spence, man. Like you guys said, let's go fight, Virgil Ortiz, some other guys, some Keith Thurmans of the world before you start going in deep water getting drowned by the best two fighters in the world. So I just want to say that I love you guys' content, man. I was just scrolling through. Y'all keep it up, man. I love hearing what y'all got to talk about. Thank you, my brother.
All right, appreciate it, man. If you haven't had the chance to subscribe to the channel, man, we really appreciate you, man. Love.
I will. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, man. We had somebody else calling in. We had two other calls calling in too, man, at the same time, man. So I know some other people want to call in. Here's your opportunity, man. Make sure you call in very soon. The Keggy, what's going on with you, bro? Oh, we got somebody else calling in, Jay. Lines are hot tonight. Hey, you're on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on with you?
Hey, what's good? This your boy Tank calling from Dallas. I just want to debunk what that last caller just said about Boots.
Yeah.
he was saying that, well, not about Boots really about Spence. He was saying that Spence is a middleweight fighting that welterweight. I just wanted to say that Boots he looked like he bigger than Spence. So I don't know about all of that, but I do know that if he fights Spence, he will get put on his butt because the way that other dude did him, it was kind of, I don't know. It's like his IQ ain't there. And to fight
no strategy,
Spence,
bro. His strategy wasn't there at all.
So and to fight Spence and to fight Bud with that, I don't know. He got to be able to make adjustments because he didn't adjust to what that dude was doing at all. And so
Totally agree.
I don't know. I think both of them will beat him. Actually, I do agree with the other caller though about he'll have a better chance with Bud though, because
I agree with that as well.
Yeah, but I can't see him because I say that because of Bud's chin. I think Bud got a weak chin. I don't think he got a weak chin, but I think that he gets caught. He when he do get caught, you can see him. If Spence get caught, even when he get caught flush like with Ugas, I haven't seen him drop. I've seen Bud drop with Mean Machine, and I mean that even though that didn't count it as a knockdown or whatever, but he did get dropped. He did melt. Seen him melt down Mean Machine body holding on. So so now that's the reason why I favor Spence against Bud too, because of that. I just think that both of them can hurt each other. Both of them got power. Both of them do got power. But I just see Bud being the first one to fall. And I see Boots being the first one to fall if it comes to him versus Spence. But I think he will be able to catch Crawford. I mean, he'll be able to catch both of them, but I think Crawford will fall before Spence will fall against Boots.
Yeah,
but
that makes
and
sense.
Then by him being so big, Boots being so big, I think he's bigger. He looks bigger than Spence. Really, I'm talking about me and my girl was sitting there watching. I was watching a fight with my girl last night. I had to teach her a little something about boxing. You know, they say most. When you gotta have it, you include them, then you're gonna enjoy yourself. You ain't gotta go and do nothing. Anyway. But I think that when we was watching the fight, she was like them. She told me, she asked me, he's a welterweight. I was like, yeah. He's like, what's welterweight? How much? I was like, about 147. She was like, nah, that dude. I was like, no, you know they gain and lose weight, but he's like, that dude look a lot bigger than 140 something pounds. I was like, yeah, he looks like he's about 170 right now.
Here's my thing, man. Let me comment on that because I've thought that myself that you know Boots is big, but he weighed in at 145 pounds, and that made me reassess that thought. Like, is he really like big? Like, he's about 5'10", so he's probably like around the same height as Errol Spence. Got a lot of range, but is he really like big? I'm not so sure about that anymore.
I mean, I don't think that he just. I mean, I've seen Spence come in at 46 pounds, 45 point something too. So I mean, because I don't really consider neither one of them big actually. I mean, because even like Crawford, I just think that Crawford is stringy. Like he got a stringy frame.
Yeah, he's lanky for sure.
You know, you know when you got longer arms, longer legs, then the weight, the way your weight distributed is different. You know, it's just the body makeup, the makeup of your body. So you can be the same height as somebody in the same weight, and you can look a lot bigger. But I think that the way he carry his muscle, you know, makes him look bigger. But but he could be bigger too, though. You just never. I mean, you can't really just tell by looking anyway.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard unless you see him in person. Yeah, or see him next to each other.
If you can make the weight, then that's your weight. That's your weight division.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to share with the people, man?
Nah, that's it. That's all. I just want to debunk that little weight statement.
Gotcha, man. I appreciate you calling in, man. Really appreciate
your time.
I appreciate it.
Love. All right, man. We got the lines open. Got the lines open right now. I think he, really hit some interesting points there, specifically in terms of boot size. My opinion is the 145 pounds. That seems a little bit light. I haven't been aware of Errol coming in at 145 pounds. Now maybe he has, but on fight night, man, Errol looks huge. So I just think he's a really big welterweight. We got another caller calling in, Jay. So get prepared. This is the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. You are live. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Swagger Al?
What's up, Swagger Al?
Good, man. Just want to speak about last night's event. To be honest with you, man, I don't know. Boo Boo was kind of suspect yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought he put on a guy offensively. He was on point, but him saying he want to challenge Charlo and he want to challenge Canelo, it's not going to be a good look for him. He lacks power. And I mean, he was in a box. He was in a ring with a guy that was, somewhat aggressive. He didn't really have too much offensive skills, but he couldn't really put that man away because that man's defense was not really good at all. Second fight, Speedy. I thought Speedy to me, 23-month layoff if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. He took way too much time off. Way too much time. He ran out of gas. He didn't really have no pop behind his shots, and as we could see, as the fight just kept going on and going deeper into the rounds, he just ran out of so much gas. Mm-hmm. So for him to step up to the big boys, I think he needs to pause that for a minute. I think he needs to get himself a strength coach, and he needs to work on his conditioning. And then we could reevaluate him, moving forward. Boots. I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna be totally honest. I was highly disappointed of Boots.
Yeah.
I had the ceiling so high for Boots, but I'm going to be honest. I was speaking with my boy, and I'm like, what's crazy? We put this ceiling on him so high, but who has he fought?
Right. Exactly right. Exactly right.
You're knocking people out in the 6th round, but you're really knocking out nobody. And he was in a corner. He's standing up in the corner. He's not really, I felt he was kind of brushing his father off. I didn't even like all of the stuff his father was telling him. Because you know what I'm saying? Like the bottom line, yo, bro, cut the ring off. You're letting, yes, I get it. Did the guy want to engage? I don't think so. I think the guy was very leery of Boots' power because of the stigma that we, in such a high plateau, we put Boots on. So I think the guy was leery of his power. But did you guys notice towards the ending of the fight, the guy was moving around, but he was willing to exchange more. It wasn't like Boots' power was killing him. And
I said that last night on the watch party. I said his power is not devastating. Like the guy, he's landed on this guy. It's not devastating.
Right. It's not. That kind of woke me up to him too. Like, I don't want to say he's overhyped, but just watching that, I'm gonna be a little reserved on him. Last fight, Tank. I knew Tank was in for a dog fight. I watched that yesterday in the afternoon. I had watched the Cobra fight. That guy Garcia, bro, he doesn't have nothing to be ashamed of. He's very durable. He boxes pretty good. Tank, I was just watching it. Tank was just like, my downfall with Tank is I think he does take a little too long to get going, but it's like Tank was just downloading the data on him. And then if you just watch it, the 4th round he picked up, the 5th round, I kind of want to say it was Garcia. The 6th round was up in the air. 7th round, Tank took it. 8th round, lights out. That's kind of his MO though. That's kind of his MO. I wish he would let his hands go a little more. But at the end of the day, Tank does what Tank does. As the fight goes along, like I said, the beginning rounds he loses. Towards the end, he wins rounds and it's lights out. That's just his MO. That's Tank. But yeah, Boots, Boo Boo, Rashidi, yeah, I think they gotta not so much go back to the drawing board, but I think they need to get in there with a little more stiffer competition, and especially Boots. The way it looks like Showtime. Even if you watch if you watched the pay-per-view, if you saw how Showtime was like really boosting him up.
Yeah,
They was really focusing on him a lot. You know, they might have to go back to the drawing board because you got to realize, you know, his level of competition. I don't want to say it was like Adrian Broner, but remember how when AB first came out, and then when AB fought that hard boxer, that you know, he wasn't as skillful as AB as boxing, but he could punch. He knows how to fit. He knows how to set little traps.
I feel like his level of competition is not even on the level of AB's. I mean, at that time, AB had fought, who was it? DeMarco?
Yeah.
You know, so, and I think there's no DeMarco on Boots' resume. I mean, Lipinets is probably the best thing that he had fought, and maybe Castillo Clayton, and those guys weren't on that level, man. So this is, again, this is why I have an issue with anointing a fighter to be the next generational fighter until that fighter has actually stepped in the ring with some competition, especially when you can see that there's some clear flaws in that fighter's game that a better fighter would be able to exploit. So we got to stop doing that. I think he can be the next generational fighter, and I think he can be the best at 147 pounds, but Boots got some work to do in the lab, and I think we all know that. Anything else you want to share with the people, man, before we take the next caller?
No, that's it. I'm gonna keep supporting you guys. You guys be talking the real. Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate it, man. Love.
All right.
Man, that was a good caller right there, man. He was speaking that fact, speaking that real, and was not sugarcoating anything. Man, hey, we had a couple of people. We had actually several people that were trying to call in. So the lines are open now. Please feel free to call in. Yeah, Boots got to get in the lab, Jay. They got to change the way they prepare. Kenny Porter mentioned in the interview that he felt like Boots Ennis was like a borderline savant. And I think Boots Ennis probably feels like he's a borderline savant relative to making adjustments in the ring. But it's easier to make adjustments against guys that do not have a lot of tools in their tool belt, right? It's like if you're playing basketball, if a guy, can only dribble with his right hand, it's easy to make an adjustment to him driving, right? But if he can dribble with his left hand, right hand, crossovers, dribbles back behind the back, it's a lot easier. Jay, we got another caller calling in from the phone too. You're on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on with you, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Chilling, man. Chilling. What's up?
I gotta turn off this TV. Hey, this is Tony from Omaha, Nebraska.
Hey, what's going on, Tony?
What's going on?
We good, man. You about to kill us on Terence Crawford, huh? Yeah, he ain't feeling those videos, huh?
You're not gonna smoke bud today, though.
Oh, you're not a Bud fan?
Huh?
You not a Bud fan?
No, I'm a Spence fan. Remember I called in the other day.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Yeah, what's up?
Bud was making us look bad down here.
Hey, Jay, a real quick statement on that. Jay, you and I, we've gone through and looked at the our stats and seeing who are watching. It gives us stats on what areas. There's a lot of people that watch this channel who are based in Omaha, Nebraska. I thought that was amazing. I think Omaha, Nebraska was like 5th or 6th or something like that. But go ahead, Tony, man. My bad.
Okay. About those fights last night, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boo Boo ain't ready for the big boys, man. Boo Boo.
There's something missing, right?
Yeah, he ain't ready for the big boys. That he gonna get himself hurt. He too old too. He's still kind of quick, but he gonna get touched on the chin by Jamal Charlo or David Benavidez, Cater Plant. He gonna go to sleep. Canelo, they gonna put him to sleep. And then Rashidi, he just ran out of gas. He had a good first 6 rounds. It just went downhill. We ran it, but that's him being inactive and all that. Oh boy, just walked him down, punished him.
Yeah.
And then Boots wasn't listening, man. And I just don't understand why the hell this dude did not sit down. This is the first fight this dude did not sit down. He thought he was George Foreman. George Foreman was like the only fighter I ever seen stand up in every round. Never sit down on the fight. And he was not listening to his dad or nothing. He was just looking all around in the crowd. and he wasn't even there, man. I don't know.
See, I couldn't. So we did a watch party last night, and so I had to mute my volume, so I couldn't hear what was going on in between rounds. So he wasn't following his dad's instructions.
No, hell no. His dad was telling him to go to the body. Yeah, his dad was telling him to go to the body, and his dad did tell him one time, and just go around to the right, and go around to the left. He's basically telling him, he didn't say cut off the ring, but he was giving him, pushing him towards that direction. But Boots kept letting the dude stand in front of him, and then that, I don't know, man. And you see how then I don't know if you watched any of the press conferences afterwards. All
I haven't
that energy he had, man. Like he was on that Bud Crawford shit after the Spence fight. Oh yeah, man, we can make the fight happen, but he had that confidence he had before the fight.
Yeah, because when you all of a sudden he's had a reality check. He's had a reality check. Yeah,
he had a reality. Yeah, and then Tank did what Tank do to the people that he fight.
Mm-hmm.
He did what he do to the. I mean, Hector is a good fighter, and he kind of exposed him a little bit. He touched him up a lot, and the unofficial cards, Hector was winning that fight, and then the melee, the fight broke out in the 8th round with the outside ring stuff with Meek Mills and Gary Russell. And all that stuff broke out then after they got them out. That round went an extra 2 minutes long because of that. Because that was stopped for 2 minutes just waiting on all that rushes to clear outside the ring. And then so the round went extra long, but that ain't no excuse. And then Tank hit that boy in the head. At the end, that dude was wildly going back to his corner. And he should have went back out there for 10 more seconds and got knocked out brutally and be in the hospital or something because he couldn't see. He told his corner I couldn't see. And then he said my head hurt, I couldn't see. And then his eyes cleared up. But Tank did, he did. So I ain't taking nothing for Tank, but like I said, that dude 30. He did what he did. He did what he's supposed to do. We already knew Tank. We was looking for Tank to do what Boots was supposed to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If he's a generational talent, that's what he's supposed to do.
Yep.
That's all we was talking about. Everybody, Boots gonna knock him out, and that's how Showtime showed it. Now Espinosa and them and all of them is kind of pushing back because they didn't get what they expected. But that's my call, man. So,
all right, man. I appreciate you calling in. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so, man. Love.
Other day.
All right.
All right. Yep.
Hey, you are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg, calling in from the 646. What's happening with you, man?
What's happening?
Good, bro. You
are on the podcast with Jason and Greg.
What's going on, good brother? How are you?
How you doing, man?
Chilling.
I'm fine. I'm watching and by the way, my Motorsports TV, you know, we have our own little channel.
Okay.
But I'm watching and analysis on Jaron Ennis. I don't agree because, you know, it's hard to look good against, and he's still dominant every round, but it's hard to look good against a defensive fighter who won't engage, bro. It's hard to really get, like, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to, if you don't want to engage, granted, Boots was getting punched. He was rolling a lot of punches, but he was getting caught clean, but
that's the problem that I have, Motorsports. That's the problem that I have. Not so much that it's hard to look good, because I totally agree with you on that. A guy that's not willing to engage and is in survival mode is hard to look good against. But you also don't need to get connected on your chin quite regularly. That's my issue with him. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. No problem. I definitely agree with that because, in my opinion, because if you didn't know, I got to put this out there. I'm an Errol Spence Jr. fan. There's two people on this page.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that, Motorsports.
Yeah. Because everybody got Jaron Ennis so high, and I'm like, listen, I've seen Errol Spence break faces. So for you to get hit so clean by these guys, and I'm not gonna lie, he abandoned his jab. I don't want y'all to think I'm just a fan of Boots. I do like him a lot, but I also see he abandoned his jab. He was frustrated. You can see he was frustrated out there. He can't do that with Terence Crawford also, because Terence Crawford's a slick boxer who hits hard.
Mm-hmm.
We're not like
right.
I don't agree with that.
No, I feel you, man. I totally feel you on that, man. Totally feel you.
Jaron Ennis should have stopped Shaka Khan. He did not belong.
That's my brother Ra. That's my brother Ra. He be on. But we called him Sugar Jab while we was watching him. He was putting. Listen, y'all can say he's supposed to stop him. It's hard to if he doesn't want to engage and he's out. I'm gonna be honest. He was catching him with some shots that I said, "Ooh, he cannot get caught by Terence or Spence. I can't see him surviving the fight."
Listen. All I want to say, right? If Terence Crawford would have fought Shaka Khan, he would have fought Shaka Khan like.
You're killing me.
I guess you want to share with the people, man, before we move to the next caller.
No, that's all, man. We appreciate the love. Man. We support your channel. Thanks.
Hey, we
appreciate y'all.
Man, appreciate you, man. Love. Hey guys, we got 191 people in the building. We got 114 likes. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, please hit the like button. And if you don't like the content, then hit the dislike button, but make sure you engage with the content. Subscribe to AM Sports Media and also the Mic Check podcast. Jay, we got another one calling in from the 469.
Let's get it.
You are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on?
What up, y'all? This T-Word. What's the deal?
The man.
What's up, bro?
Hey, man, I had to tap in. So I was sitting there listening to the last caller. And we were talking about Boots, you know what I'm saying? And one thing, I dropped it in the comments. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Boots was switching stances pretty regularly, right? If you pick a stance, you learn the nuances of that stance and how to be defensive and offensive, right?
Absolutely.
Part of his issue is he didn't know how to cut the ring off because you switching back and forth. So if that dude's moving to your right and you southpaw, you're not sure exactly how to cut the ring off. If you switch to orthodox, now he's moving opposite of your natural side. So now you're having issues. And if you look at the fight, when you get to see it, Jason, you'll see there's issues with him switching stances too often. You can't be effective enough because he's not settling in. That's the only good and bad thing about what Crawford is doing with the stance switch. He uses one side or the other for a specific task, and then he abandons it to do whatever he needs to do. Boot switching back and forth, trying to gain angles, is not helping you cut a dude off. And I feel like that was a big issue.
Dude, you know, T, you and I, we connect. We probably talked. Am I misstating this, T? Do we? I feel like we communicate probably daily. Is that a misstatement? I feel like we talk pretty much daily, and we've talked about all these different things. And one of the things that I've talked about a lot is switch hitting, and I don't believe in it. I don't believe in switch hitting because you're better at one stance or the other. And a lot of old school trainers would tell you that you need to stick to one stance. The stance that he was in primarily last night was a southpaw. And I felt like that you know, Karan, I felt like he was throwing that left hook and it landed several times last night because he was in a southpaw stance. I felt like Boots should have been in an orthodox stance last night. I thought he would have been more successful. To the point that you're making, you need to pick a stance and be proficient at that stance, because typically what ends up happening is you learn how to deal with, you know, if you're an orthodox fighter, you learn how to deal with orthodox fighters out of that stance and southpaw fighters out of that stance. All that switching back and forth, in my opinion, forgive my language, that ain't shit. And I'm tired of hearing about switching. I'm tired of hearing about switching just as much as I'm tired of hearing about sparring. But I'm go ahead, Jay.
No, I mean, all that switching is cool when it's necessary, but just to do it, it ain't beneficial.
Right.
No,
totally agree.
Not at all. And when I'm training, and I try to refer to when I'm training and what works. If I'm in there, we sparring, and I see a particular angle, and I need to get into the orthodox stance in order to get that angle, I throw that out there. But typically, I'm going to stick with my southpaw stance throughout the sparring because that's where I know my defense is best. That's where I know how to cut people off. I can make the ring smaller. I can be offensive and proficient at defense. But if I see a particular shot I can get from the orthodox, I'll switch real quick and get that shot, but I'm going right back, you know, and he's not doing it that way.
Totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. T-War, anything else you want to share, man, before we move on to the next caller? Because more than likely you will be on the show next week, just so I'm giving you a shout out. You know.
Here we go.
Yeah, I ain't gonna
Here we
hold it
go,
out.
man.
Man, hey, I'm gonna jump in the comments. Y'all keep cooking.
I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, T-Ward.
Mike Check Podcast. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel as soon as you can. And guys, we got 190 people in the building, 129 likes. Please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel AM Sports Media. We got another caller calling in from the 469. You are on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on with you?
What's happening, fam?
What's happening?
What's going on?
Hey, this is Emmanuel. I'm gonna try to be brief, man, if I can. But
yeah,
I'm Emmanuel 7 Line in the chat.
Yeah, I know who you are. What's up?
I see.
Okay, check it. First and foremost, I think that Boo Boo had way too much inactivity. So and plus we have to take into account that this is his first fight at 168, so he's gonna need to make some adjustments at that weight to see because he looked like his power wasn't there to me. Yeah. And in the second fight, I had Ellis winning that fight, man. Even though he looked horrible in the 12th round and he was hanging on for dear life, he literally dominated that dude with the jab the whole fight long. So I just don't see how they came up with those scorecards. To give him a draw that's a gift to his opponent because he won that fight to me. All right, the fight with Boots. You could tell when the commentators, man, were talking about Boots as he was walking into the arena, man, they were pumping him up and throwing out so many different accolades and talking about how great he was. And he was, it's like they've crowned him. And, I follow a lot of boxing sites and I'm on there commenting left and right, and people have been literally saying that Errol is ducking Boots and that Bud is ducking Boots. And they've crowned him as the welterweight king without any elite fights under his belt. And I've been saying like, hey, man, it's beautiful. You can look great, when you're not fighting nobody.
Exactly.
It's easy to look great at subpar competitors. And this guy is a guy that we didn't even hear of. I didn't know who the guy was that he fought.
I didn't either.
I didn't know that guy.
So,
and he just looked mediocre, man, to me. He chased that guy around the ring. He could not cut the ring off. He swung for dear life and was spinning around, like he was like Michael Jackson, all off balance. I mean, if he does that in the ring with Bud or does that in the ring with Spence, man, he is going night-night. And I love Boots, man.
Emmanuel, that pissed me off so bad last night. We did the watch party. I mentioned that it had to be 3 or 4 times. Every time I turn around, he's jumping in with a leaping left hook or right hook, whatever it was, and he's literally spinning around, man. It's like, what the? That is so amateurish. It makes no sense.
I really honestly think that the moment was too big for him. Like walking into that arena, with everybody crowning him as the welterweight king, though he has no belts yet. They were crowning him as the king, and the gravity of the situation the enormity of it was entirely too much for him. He looked like a deer in headlights, and he looked like he was trying so hard, for the benefit of the crowd, because he had made in one interview I saw where he was like, tuning in everybody. There's going to be a spectacular knockout. Hey, that's all fine and dandy, but you got to frame, your shots. You got to set your shots up. You got to switch up the levels. Man, I didn't see any adjustments. And I'm gonna say this: I love Boots Ennis. I listened to a lot of his interviews. Yeah. Man, I think he's doing a huge disservice to his son by not studying his opponent before he actually won the ring.
100% agree.
You ain't lying. That's 100% spot on. I've said that multiple times on multiple videos, bro. A huge disservice. I don't care who you are. I don't care how gifted you are. It is an advantage to look at your opponent to see what their tendencies are and all this shit about, the fighter might come in the ring and do something different. You are who you are. You are who you put on tape. A fighter is not going to change that much. So that makes no sense to me.
And then you could practice drills because you see that fighter's tendencies. So you could practice drills, and muscle memory is important. So when you practice those drills, it's like, okay, remember what we practiced in the gym? He's doing this. And when he does that, we're going to do this, and we're going to neutralize him. I saw him just chasing that dude around the ring. He really, I'm telling you something, all this talk on all these channels about him being dubbed and being crowned, they need to cut that shit out. Like, just cut it out, man. Let that man develop, because I do think that he's skilled enough to actually be that guy, but he needs to progress, and learn. He what he needs to do, he needs to get in the ring with somebody like a Ortiz. He needs to get in the ring like even an Uga.
Yep.
Ortiz would have
he
been
needs to get in the ring with a gatekeeper, man. and fight a gatekeeper and to see where he's really at. Lastly, with Tank.
Yeah.
Look, man, I've always been a Tank fan, and I've always known that Tank has an enormous amount of skills that he don't ever showcase, because he depends on his power too much. So he'll take some shots while he's downloading data. Last night he came out the gate trading, and old boy was trading back with him and looking great, man. Garcia, he was looking good, but man, look here, Tank hits like a middleweight, man. You could hear those shots, man, popping that boy, man. Look at man, that man didn't know where the hell he was at, man. I don't see anybody giving Tank a problem, possibly, but Shakur, and that's because Shakur is so good with gauging distance, his counters. But guess what? All it takes is one mental lapse with Shakur, and he gonna go to sleep just like everybody else, man. And I'm a huge Shakur fan. I don't see anybody beating Tank, man. And I don't think the Tank gives a damn about belts, because Floyd taught him that the sanctioning bodies, man, raping these dudes, man. You hold these belts, you undisputed, you unified, bro. They taking a huge portion of your purse, man. So I don't think that's really Tank's thing. So I think that Floyd built him up right, and I think now he's anxious to get in the ring with better competition. Look, anybody get ready to face Tank, they better be prepared, man, to have a pillow on hand.
Hey, bro.
For real, it's going night.
Hey, listen. I really like Devin. I like Devin's approach to the game. Shakur looks like he's the most polished fighter to me, but Tank skill level is so high, comparable skill level to those two guys with the power with it. That power is the differentiator, because he can match the skills. Even though I think those guys are really good boxers, Tank can match that skill, but the power, man, it's that
neutralizer.
It changes the whole fight, man. And so with
look
that
how
level
small
of power,
he is in comparison to who he's in the ring with. How little that dude looks.
I know, man. It's just,
and he in there hitting like a mule.
I'm struggling to see who's gonna beat him. I think there's people that have problems. God damn, I'm so tired of hearing you say that shit.
Hey, it's about time you came over to the dark side, man. I've been telling you about Tank.
Let me tell you something. Jason, Cap. Anyway, Emmanuel, anything else you want to share with the people?
That's it. Hey man, you guys got a great show, man, and I always enjoy jumping in because you always give an educated approach, and it's never really slanted. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you got a lot of, because I follow a lot of channels, and I'm a known Errol Spence fan, man. Everybody that know Emmanuel Seven Line know I'm out here, man. Going hard for Errol. I met Errol personally. I live in the Dallas area. I followed him since the amateurs, and I just like the way that dude moves as opposed to the way Bud and his team, do all this, lying and contradicting and spinning narratives. And I was a big Bud fan too, and his fans turned me against him. But I like the way you guys bring a neutral approach. By and large, man, it's just like an educated, neutral approach, man. And keep doing what you're doing, man. Your show gonna keep growing.
I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate you supporting the channel and the show, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
For sure. Love. Y'all have a great Sunday. All right.
You too.
All right, you too, brother.
Yeah, man, that was Emmanuel. We got 217 people in the building. We got 143 likes. If you haven't had the opportunity yet, please hit the like button. And if you don't like the content, hit the dislike button, but make sure you interact with the content. And also subscribe to the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media. By the way, the Mic Check Podcast with T Ward and Q, sister channel. Make sure you go check them out as well. So Jay, I like what he said there, man. He covered a lot. Tank.
Yeah, he did. And he admitted that he's a huge EJ fan, but he was still able to be objective still.
Yeah, man. I mean, we try the best as we can to make sure that we follow our logic, man. Logically, does this make sense? Logically, does it not make sense? And that's what we do. And if that's slanted towards EJ, then it's slanted toward EJ. If it's slanted towards Tank, or if it's slanted towards Terence. Remember when we heard that Terence had agreed to the 35-65 split, and we thought that he would never do that, and we said to ourselves, kudos to Terence Crawford for agreeing to that and being realistic in order to make this fight. We gave Terence Crawford love, and Terence Crawford doesn't get a whole lot of love on this channel. But of course, that love changed very quickly when we realized that he actually didn't accept the fight. So the phone lines are open, guys. The phone lines are open. You guys let us know if you're ready to call in. I heard a few calls that I wasn't able to answer. We had some people. Yeah, we missed a few. But yeah, man, Tank Davis is a motherfucker, man.
Yeah, I told my only thing with Tank was him being a slow starter, being too cautious early on and just giving away rounds. Certain fighters you can't do that against. Someone like a Shakur Devin, I don't think he'll be able to do that against them, especially Shakur, because Shakur doesn't show that he has a chin. He doesn't show chinniness like Devin did, even though Devin looks great against Kambosos.
Bro, it's the power. It's the power though. Even if he starts off slow, bro, it's the power. That's what I'm saying. Even if he starts off slow, it's the power. We got somebody calling in, Jay.
All right, let's bring him in.
510. I think this might be New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. You on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, man? Just Donald, man. I'm out the Bay Area, Black Pine Country.
Oh, what's going on, man? BLK Prime.
I'm just not sure. I ain't no fan of that. I am out the Bay, but I'm I'm just I think last night was a great night for boxing. I think I give last night an A+ because it was a lot of some of the best fighters in the game on one ticket. So that was, that was. I think if you were a boxing fan, I think that was a great night. The fights, I think all the fights lived up to the hype, except probably the Boots. And I like the previous caller said, I think a lot of that hype kind of went to his head. I think he's kind of feeling himself. Because it's funny because you listen to his interviews and he comes off real humble, like in nature. But then you listen to what he's saying, and he's actually very cocky. Yeah, I mean, which is understandable, but it's like, dude, you haven't done anything yet to be talking the way you're talking. So
you're right.
I think he needs somebody to get with him, like, probably some vets from Philly, like D-Hop or something. And like, dude, like, you better work in your craft, man. Don't let these people gas you up because you haven't done anything yet.
Yep.
No, I totally agree with that.
You can't believe your own hype.
Yeah, you can't believe your own hype. And it's okay to be confident. I agree with being confident, but he's a little bit, and he got a humble nature, and his dad has a humble nature. Yeah. But his confidence, he needs to just zip his lip, man, and just, let your skills show in the ring.
Yeah. Because like I said, I didn't, I thought he didn't look good at all. And I don't think dude was really doing the running. Like, I mean, he was kind of, I guess, on his back foot all night, but I just think it was more of Boots not doing what he had to do. I don't really think the guy was running like that.
All this running, he's running. You got to figure out how to cut off the ring. That's your job to prevent that guy from doing that. And even when he wasn't running, Boots was unable to land his shots. And on top of that, the guy was able to run you into shots. I don't want to hear that talking about the guy was running all night. Man, that's bullshit. If he's moving, figure out a way to cut off the ring. That's your job.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said, I thought the fight was honestly kind of boring. I just thought, the way that they've been hyping him up, you just thought he was just gonna come out there and just run straight through him, get him out of there in 3 rounds. That didn't happen. But like he said, that could be a good, lesson learner from him. Like, maybe he could look at tape and okay, I didn't do this well, I didn't do that well. I think he was still, because I listened to the interview with him and his pops. They thought about, well, maybe now I could get some fights now. Like, nah, man, that's like he almost like he still don't get it. Like, you shouldn't be worried about what like Spence and them thinking. You should be worried about like your performance.
Totally agree with that, man. Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, I just wanted to just say, like I said, even though I'm out the Bay, I'm a big Devin Haney fan. He repping for the Bay, and big EJ fan. I'm a big EJ fan too. My 2 favorite fighters, actually my 3 favorite fighters, is EJ, Devin Haney, and Wilder. So let us see those big 3.
Okay.
And, I'm just looking forward to Spence. Interested. They say he's supposed to come back in April. So I don't know if it was Keith. I don't know if it's gonna be Boots. We'd like to see.
Yeah, we'll see who it is, man. I appreciate you calling in, man.
See if it's gonna be Bud or not.
No problem.
We'll see.
All right, man. Appreciate that love. Hey guys, one thing I haven't mentioned to you guys, we're actually now on Apple Podcasts. We're also on Google Podcasts. So we're now taking these shows and stripping out the video and putting them on the podcast. So you guys will be able to check us out on there. Also, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. We are amsports.media on Twitter. You guys will see us posting some of our videos sometime and interacting. I'm getting better at Twitter. I told you guys I suck ass, but Ray Jackson has been very helpful in my understanding and learning of Twitter by tagging me in certain and stuff like that. So damn, I don't like your ass. Anyway, what's going on, guys? So the chat line is open right now. Jason and I, man, we ready to talk. Let us know. Yeah, man, back to Boots Ennis, Jay, before our next caller. I just feel like the kid, he has a humble nature. But the bragging, the feeling like he's the best. I did a video last week, Jason. You weren't around. You were too busy slacking and spending time with your wife while I was here working. But during that time, I dropped the video.
Happy life, happy wife.
And there you go.
Happy wife, happy life.
I dropped the video, and it was basically Boots talking about how he's the best fighter in the world, period. And it's hard to say that you're the best fighter in the world when you haven't fought that level of competition yet. And Jay, you got another call coming in, so let's take this call.
Let's get him.
4-3. You're on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Randy from Baltimore.
What's up?
First of all, I just want to say I like the unbiased reviews and all that. Got us calling up there. But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not super mad at that Boots fight. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Expand on that.
So, I mean, all right. The one thing I can say is he ain't know what to do about the dude dancing around him like that.
Yeah.
And Chuka John, he ain't really know what to do like that either. He's like,
hold on. Pause real quick. Say his name again.
Chuka John.
Well, this dude right here, boy. Whew. Thank you, because I can't pronounce his name worth of shit. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, he did a great job getting out the way and all that. And he tried to sneak his counters in there when he could, but I mean, he really couldn't get in on him. And Boots, he was pretty much unscathed. So I didn't look at it like he was looking dusty. He just ain't know how to catch him really. But I think he I don't know. I don't think it was a bad performance, and I wasn't really mad about the fight really. It's just like I'm thinking like, I mean, what would I do if I was fucking 5 foot whatever Kareem in front of Boots and he just throwing him? It did look a little crazy.
You're gonna get on that bike, huh?
I don't disagree with what you're saying, right? But it goes back to what I said earlier, right? And it's this: because there are supporters of Boots Ennis they've placed him on a level that's so high. Now we have to measure him against the level that they've placed him at, and that's where you get the criticism. If people weren't describing him as a generational talent, then I don't think you would get this level of criticism. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just telling somebody about it. Like, man, only thing is, like, I think he's like damn near Jesus Christ up there. But then again, we haven't seen him in front of nobody that's like A+.
Exactly.
That's the only thing.
We ain't seen him. We ain't seen him in the ring with somebody that's B+.
No.
No. I mean, we haven't.
You don't think? No.
Who?
Boots is all potential at this point in time. He's always been potential.
Yeah, the best two fighters on his resume were Lipinets and Castillo Clayton.
And Clayton just laid down.
Well, I thought Lipinets looked pretty tough in front of him.
And he was coming up in weight.
Got him out of there.
And
Okay. Well, and one more thing I want to say. Is I really did like Tank performance, because what you could tell about him is the whole fight, whether he's losing rounds or not, you can see his composure. Like, he got it all under control. He just
levels.
It's just like it's in his hand. Like look, it's just a matter of time. Like, I know you're gonna get something nasty. And you might catch me a few times, but you're not putting me to sleep. You know what I mean?
But let me elaborate on what you're saying there, because because when you think about that, and I want to delineate that, right? When you think about Deontay Wilder takes that approach of it's just a matter of time. But Tank is different because even though it's a matter of time, he is a boxer with a lot of skill, speed, and power. He's not just relying on his power to eventually catch this guy. He's also relying on his ability, his technique, his skill, and his strategy to eventually walk this guy down. So that's what makes Tank different when you start talking about it's just a matter of time. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Because he not about to let nobody put him to sleep with nothing crazy, nothing. He don't even take clean shots most of the time. Like half your hand might hit him. You might nick him on the shoulder and the back of the head, but it's rare that you really get a clean shot on him.
Facts.
But I say I was pretty happy with the event, even with the first fight. Nickerson, tough as a motherfucker. He ain't win, but shit, he was tough.
Yeah, man. Anything else you wanna share with the people before we go on with the next one?
Nah. Keep doing what y'all doing. Thanks for allowing us to call in and put our input in. And yeah, man, keep it up for us boxing fans. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Love.
Much love.
All right.
Hey, you are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. I just surprised him with another caller that was already calling in. What's going on with you?
What's going on, man? I just wanted to say, great show, man. It's good to see some brothers that can articulate themselves on what's going on in the fight game without the insults and all the hooping and hollering. Now to get to my point, I heard Boo Ennis and I heard Jaron Ennis. I feel like this fight humbled them because Boo Ennis was talking that he could fight on his back foot, he could fight on his front foot, he could do whatever. They can't get away from him, and they was talking all this trash. And then they found somebody that can get away from him and can take his power. And then they sit up on a pedestal and their faces were frowned up like the guy did something wrong. No, I don't think the guy did anything wrong. He actually showed it was holes in Boots' game. So that's all I got to say. You guys keep up the good work. Great show, man.
Appreciate it, man. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, man. And we really appreciate you calling in, man. Love.
All right.
All right, man. Yeah, man. I mean, there's just
he oversold everything. That's what happened with Boots and the whole camp. Errol oversold Boots and he underperformed. Then he got caught up trying to satisfy the crowd by going for a knockout and not knowing how to get the knockout.
I totally agree. Jay, let me just pause here real quick. We got 231 people in the building. We got 168 likes. If you haven't had the opportunity, guys, please hit the like button or the dislike button if you do not like the content, but I think you do. Just make sure that you interact with the content and also make sure you subscribe to AM Sports Media. And we got 2 people calling in. So let me see who I can accept.
Who gonna come in?
Hey, this is the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. I accepted your call because it looked like you were calling internationally. Am I correct?
That's correct, brother.
Oh, man. How are you doing, sir?
Where from?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Oh, did you go back to the... I'm doing good. Let me get you guys back on. I lost you guys on the internet. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Let me get you guys back. Yeah, I just want to comment a little bit on the fight. I live over here in the middle of Mexico.
Okay.
And I like Boots. I just thought he was they were overhyping him a little bit too much. He hasn't really faced anybody, but I know he because of the eye test. But what I always like, a lot of the Boots fans, they were always saying that I'm a Virgil fan. I like Virgil Ortiz, but they're both young, and I still think that if Virgil would have gone 12 rounds with Karen, all the Boots fans would have been saying that he's overhyped. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
It would have been different, but a lot of the Boots fans are saying that because Karen is that good that he's a mover. and he was just running away from the fight. And when Virgil, he got McKinnon out, and they're probably going to think style fighting. So that's what I'm saying. Like people overreact on certain fighters, and
Yeah.
I think Boots is good, but they're overhyping him a little bit too much.
Dude, I don't disagree with what you're saying. And I don't remember what video I said this in, Jason, but I've said that I thought Virgil would be a challenge for Boots Ennis. If that would have been Virgil in the ring last night with that level of power, Boots would have had some problems, man, because Virgil has significantly more power than Corinne had last night.
Yeah.
So
I see Virgil. He's he had some bad luck in the last couple of fights. I think on the Hooker fight, he didn't look too good, but he was coming off of COVID. I don't know if people know this. He was going to cancel a fight. He wasn't sparring. He wasn't training. But I don't know if people don't know this. And then the mechanic, before the McKinnon fight, I know he got canceled because of that tissue illness he got, and it was his first fight back. I mean, from that illness, so I wasn't really expecting him to be like 100%. But I think this fight coming up, Stanionis fight, I think it's gonna really the real version is gonna come out on this fight, like the real version, he's gonna be at 100% on this fight, and I think
that's gonna be a hell of a fight.
Stanionis, I think Stanionis is Peter made for Virgil for some reason. I think
I got Virgil. I got Virgil winning that fight. Yeah. I've said that on multiple occasions. Virgil's gonna win that fight.
I feel like Stanionis is more like he's like a mean machine kind of fider. Probably has a little bit more repertoire. But I think Mean Machine hits harder. I don't know if they have the same game or because he's really catched up by Crawford, but I think that's why I think they're offering him that much money, because they're probably 100% sure that they can take him out for some reason. De La Hoya, and they're offering. I think they offered $1.7 million to Stanionis, and I think we're just only getting paid like $500,000, something like that.
Gotcha.
And I think they're doing that because they're like 100% sure they can get him off for some reason. And there's levels to this. I still think I still think Boots is really good, but I haven't seen him got hit by a hard puncher yet from that weight class. Because he fought Lipinets, or he was a 140, and he was a decent 140. He wasn't like he was a level B, I could say, in 140. But I think in welterweight he's probably like a C level. He's kind of small for that weight. Kind of like Mikey going up in welterweight. He wasn't really, you could say Mikey's a B or a C fighter at welterweight. And he beat Lipinets.
Yeah,
I got you. You could say Mikey was an A fighter in 140, but he doesn't have nothing to do at 147. His heart is not even in the fight anymore.
Gotcha.
But I still believe it's just too like I feel like and because a lot of people that think that Boots is won right now, they give him all the excuses like, oh, he wanted to go 12 rounds, and the other guy was better than what he expected,
right?
And, but if it was Virgil fighting that dude, and he would have gone 12 rounds, it would have been like, oh, he's no good.
Yeah. I know exactly.
I see you want to even. You just want to even Steven, So I get you on that.
Totally agree. Is there anything else you want to share with the people before we move to the next caller?
Keep up the good work, and I enjoy boxing. Mexico loves boxing. I always watch your guys' channel. I love it. And you guys are not biased, and that's what I like. You guys see the truth. You guys speak the truth, what you guys see. You can't really say he's the best. Boots is the second coming of Jesus. We haven't seen him fight anybody. We haven't seen him fight a live dog. We haven't seen him fight a live dog.
Exactly. I appreciate you calling in, man. I'm sorry.
What you say?
Oh no. Go ahead and say what you're saying. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh no, I know. And I see a lot of boxing. Boxing is kind of like a racial sport, even if you don't want to admit it. Because I live in Mexico, so of course all the Mexicans want the Mexicans to be champions, and even in the United States, the Chicanos they want like De La Hoya, Virgil Ortiz, You know, they want to be top dogs, you know, but we gotta see. There's, you know, I'm gonna be honest. Black folks, they got skills, man. They got athletic skills that we. Like I was saying, you know, there's a big soccer country, Mexico, and I always say, if the United States is a black play soccer, they'll be the best. They'll be the best in the world because, you know, to take all the cornerback, to take all the defense. I mean, to be off the issue that we're talking about right now, but I argue with people here a lot because, you know, I went to school in the States. And all the best athletes, you know, of course, the African American athletes, they played football like their main sport, basketball, and track and field and stuff like that. And over here, and I was always telling like, dude, just imagine all those guys play soccer. They'll beat the shit out of all the countries. They'll beat national teams. Like, you look at the defensive backs and wide receivers, because they all play soccer, or the running backs, and then all those guys play soccer. We're talking about from college. Dude, I bet you, I even told this one guy, I bet you even a Division I football team has more faster runners than the whole Mexican national soccer team. So I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, their athletic ability is different, but they don't play soccer since they were kids. So they're obviously not going to get good at soccer. But just imagine all the athletes, the great athletes in the United States play soccer. So they'll make France look like shit because France is a $20 million people country. But they don't understand me. I'm like, you guys don't know. The most gifted athletes in the United States don't play soccer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Totally understand what you're saying.
And Brazil, France, and Mexico, all the best athletes play soccer. But, you know.
Gotcha.
You know, that's what they're
hey, we really appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you, and thank you for supporting the channel, man. It's great to know that we're reaching people down there in Mexico. And continue to support the channel, man. We're going to continue to put out the content, man. Talk to you later.
All right, thank you, brother. And keep up the good work,
appreciate
man.
you.
All right, appreciate you. Love. All right, Jason, we got somebody else calling in, man.
Who we got?
We got the 857 in the building, man. What's going on? You're on the Angry Man podcast. What's happening with you?
I'm trying to call in from Boston, man.
Hey, man, what's going on?
All right.
Austin.
What's going on, man?
Chilling.
So I want to talk to Greg and Jason. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm live with y'all?
Oh, yeah, you already live, brother. There's no intermediary. It's just us.
Right. So, Greg, you the one with the FSU thing in the background, right?
That's me.
Yeah, that's my team too, brother.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm looking forward to next year. I think we're gonna be in it next year. Man.
We're gonna be in the playoffs next year. You damn right.
It looks like it, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, I think I'm behind y'all, man. So I was listening to this dude talking about Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah.
A few minutes ago, and I kind of disagree with him with that. I think Boots beats Virgil Ortiz easy because it's like he's a De La Hoya fighter. Like they don't fight anybody. Like he's been the WBO #1 for how many years now? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, he's been a WBO for. He's been a WBO for a while.
Crawford, right?
No, he's been I agree. He's been a WBO for a while now.
It's like Jaime McGear could have fought Charo or Boo Boo. You know, when they were like this. Like so I don't think De La Hoya is gonna put them in with any like Crawford, Spence, or Boots.
Yeah,
well, he already stopped that first time with Crawford anyway.
Yeah, let me comment on the petition thing. So the petition thing isn't going to be effective unless the guy has a mandatory that's coming up. So whether or not Virgil or Boots or anybody else would petition, he wouldn't have.
I mean, because you also at the last WBC thing, right? When they remember how they ordered Shakur and Pitbull.
Yeah.
At that event, De La Hoya's people, Ortiz people could have, because they were talking about, they could have, because even on the Box Boys, they were talking about, they could have petitioned that day and, had somebody stand up and say, that's who I want to fight. And they didn't do it.
Yeah.
At the W.
No. I don't disagree with you there. Right. So I'm on record as saying that, that I felt like Virgil ducked Crawford because they already said that they didn't want to smoke. But I disagree with you when you say Virgil Ortiz would get beat easy by Jaron Boots Ennis. If that guy that we saw last night could do that to I just don't.
I heard you. The thing is, what you said is true about Jaron's dad. if they had studied that dude before that fight and cut off the ring, he would have got that. But Virgil's gonna be right there in front of him, and that stuff's tailor made for him. I think he hits harder than Virgil, and Virgil's not as fast, so I just think he'll counter him. I just never seen Virgil in there with anybody athletic who can punch like him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair because he needs to be challenged as well.
Yeah, it's to me, I'm not gonna believe in De La Hoya's fighters until I see them in there with dudes like Jaime McGear. Come on, man. That dude got like 800 fights and hasn't fought anybody. I mean, even Ellis was in that camp, and they could have put him after he beat Rocha. They could have put him in with Virgil, and they never even wanted to try that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get exactly where you're coming from.
Speedy's from Lynn, Mass, where I'm from, and I like Speedy, but I just don't think he has the power to keep dudes off him. They can you know what I mean, and seen that last night. But the thing I really wanted to call about though, real quick, is the Devin Haney Tank thing. Yeah. And all right. I love both fighters, but how does Devin Haney beat Tank? He has to be in the best shape of his life, because at no point in that fight can he sit down and trade.
Yeah, he has to keep Tank out of distance. He has to keep that stick out there and keep Tank away.
That's exactly where I was.
Gotta stay away.
Yeah. He has to keep Tank on the end of that stick, but I just don't. It just feels like that's not really necessarily possible anymore. I'm not sure. My mind is changing on that fight.
I think Shakur is the only one that has a possibility of doing it because the way he sets things up. But I even think that Tank can beat him. I don't think anybody at 135 can beat Tank, man. I think even dudes at 140 have a problem with Tank.
So the thing
that's the thing with Tank. Tank got that equalizer, and Tank's boxing IQ has shown more to be much better each level, better each fight. You know, he's gotten leaps and bounds of what he once was. You know, he doesn't just look for just a one shot like a Wilder does. You know, he actually sets you up. He just lets you get tired and sets you up. He actually goes to the body. He goes to beat you up and break you down. Now, this the Tank I'm loving. I'm loving to seeing this type of Tank.
Yeah. Shakur, maybe because how Shakur has the ability to fight on the inside and roll shots. Like I see Shakur has some similar stuff that's akin to Floyd Mayweather. So like Floyd is the type of fighter that could just kind of stay in the pocket with a fighter like Tank and keep rolling his shots and punishing them. So you got to be that kind of fighter that you can pick up on Tank's shot, have the ability to roll his shot, and then throw your own shots and your counters. That's the type of fighter that can beat Tank Davis. Devin hasn't shown the consistency with having the ability to do that. As a matter of fact, Devin has shown that sometimes when he's trying to roll shots and do those types of things, he actually gets caught. You know, he got caught a few times against Linares. He gets caught like that against Tank night. So, man, I'm struggling with seeing how Devin's going to win. Now, Devin would be a challenging fight for a while.
I don't know that though. I've never seen Devin winning with an A-list fight.
Power translate to 140 pounds, but we saw what he did to Barrio, so I'm going to retract
I've
that
never
statement.
seen Devin
I don't know.
With an A-list fight.
I really don't know, guys.
I don't know that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Devin hasn't beat an A-list fight. I mean, Kambosos was a 30 fighter, but he definitely won no A fighter.
Kambosos is a C+B- fighter. Lee Selby almost.
At least give him a B, maybe. Give him a B. Nah, B- C+.
Sorry, Jay,
they interviewed Kambosos on Fight Hype after Tank's fight, right? And he said that he wants to see Tank against better competition like him.
What? he clowning. Kambosos clowning, man. Kambosos won't last against Tank neither. He won't last.
He looked good, but he want to see him in there with somebody like him.
He just trying to get a paycheck.
Who we talking about now?
What it look like. But thank y'all, man. Let me come on, man. Y'all have a blessed day, man.
Hey, man, appreciate you for supporting the channel, man, and coming on, man. Love.
And FSU all day, baby.
All day. You're gonna bust Miami ass again.
You are right till you went back to that stuff there.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Love. Yeah, man. No, man, Tank's that dude, man. And right now, again, the level of skill with the power is what is the equalizer, Jason. Like if it was if Tank didn't have that power, then I would say, yeah, I think Devin can possibly outbox him. But the problem is he has the power. So when he connects, he's going to connect. He's eventually going to connect. And when he connect, what happens? Now, Shakur, man, I don't know about Shakur. I think Shakur has the ability to roll a lot of those shots and maybe be able to evade it long enough. Because Tank is going to land, but it's going to be how hard can he land? And if Shakur has the ability to kind of roll those types of shots, then maybe he can. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
He does. But remember Shakur's last fight. Shakur was getting touched up a little bit. About forgot his buddy's name. He was getting touched up a little bit in that fight. There's like 2 or 3 rounds. He was just he couldn't figure out how to stop that. I think it was a straight right that he was getting caught with.
Yeah, we got another caller coming in, man. We got another caller coming in from the 310. You are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on, man?
What's happening?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Adrian from LA, Los Angeles, baby.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? Hey, man, I love your podcast. I just want to let you guys know that straight up. You guys are the best. Number 2, you know what, man? Now, as far as that Boots fight went, man, what did you guys think about that? You know what? Check this out. I thought that guy was just running away from him, man. The guy didn't want to fight.
Yeah.
So he moved a lot. Don't get me wrong. He moved a lot. But again, it is your job to scout your opponent and understand that that is his style and come into the ring with a game plan that will help you offset what it is he's doing. Now, it may be difficult for you to knock him out, but you should have that game plan to offset what he's doing. And you shouldn't be doing things that will allow you to get yourself caught in specific types of situation where this guy can actually counter you as you're coming in. So I don't have a problem with Boots' performance in terms of not being able to knock the guy out because he's moving. It's more so what some of the weaknesses we saw in his game as he was trying to walk the guy down. That was my issue.
Yeah, that's true, 100%. And I agree with you. I agree with 100%. But you know what? But I also think that it's a blessing in disguise because you know what? Because maybe Spence and Crawford are thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy is not so. He's not a machine after all. Maybe he is a man. You know, maybe they will take that fight now. Because he's having a hard time getting a good fight with anybody anyways. So maybe that might have been a blessing in disguise, because I'm a big Boots fan and I still believe in him. But hopefully
I believe in him too.
Get a bigger, but he's got to get that big fight, You got to get that big fight, and hopefully Spencer or Crawford. I'm not doubt Bud will step up to the plate because Bud don't got no balls. But I mean, but as far as Spencer goes, I think he'll step up to the plate. But hopefully, but hopefully, Spencer will step up to the plate and just to get it on. Or I doubt that De La Hoya is going to let Virgil step in there because De La Hoya he's a pussy, So but I just want to see Boots in there with somebody lot better quality, someone that'll mix it up, Like I said, this guy just ran around a lot. And like you said, you got to do your homework. You got to know how to cut the ring out better. But I still believe in Boots, man. Boots is still my number 1 fighter, man.
Totally understand that, man. I can appreciate your position on that, and I think Boots still has the potential to be the number 1 welterweight in the world, but there's some more work that has to be done in the lab.
Yeah, heard that 100%. Hey, man, I don't want to take too much of your time, but hey, just want to let you know, man, that I'm over here in LA, man. And I appreciate you guys. You guys are the number 1 podcast, man. I love you guys, man. Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate you, bro. Man, so much, man. Love. Thank you.
All right, man. Much love, boy. You have a good day. Bye.
You too. Jay, we got another one in the building from the 647. What's going on, man? You're on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What's happening?
Hey guys, first of all, let me say that you guys have a great show.
Thank you.
YouTube channel.
Appreciate you.
I mean, it really is spectacular, man. I really like it.
Thank you.
Let me say, I want to talk about the fights last night. The fights last night were first of all, Rashidi Ellis.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw who he really was last night. I think one of the problems with him is, after listening to his corner, one of the problems with him is his trainers.
Okay. Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think his trainers. Yeah, I think it's trainers. You know, after listening to the instructions that, or lack thereof, between rounds and what was going on, what started to go wrong at the end of the fight, near the end of the fight, it was just I didn't feel comfortable with it, man, and I can see that he I think he needs other trainers. So that's me on him. I mean, he punches fast, but he doesn't really have power, and he's not sitting down on his punches. He's worried about speed, and that's a big issue. And the trainer should have addressed that a long time ago. Yeah. There's a time for shooting an arm punch, but then there's a time for sitting down on your punches, right?
Exactly.
And he just, the time for sitting down on punches just never came. Now, as far as Boots is concerned, I think one of the shocking things for a lot of people was his footwork, or the lack thereof. His footwork was bad. So people talk about cutting off the ring. That's mainly about footwork. If you watch Errol Spence and somebody that's trying to run away from him, Errol Spence is like he's on skates. Wherever you try to move, he's right in front of you.
Yep.
Right.
He's shifting to the side. It's almost like a basketball player playing defense.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving right along with you. It's amazing to watch. So that's why people can't get away from him. Because his footwork, if you watch his footwork, it's amazing how he skates around the ring when you like watch some of his fights and look at his footwork. So I think I never thought I would say this, but you know, in the ring, when you start talking about moving around the ring, Errol's footwork is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's underappreciated.
Than Boots. You know, and Boots is trying to walk you down. His footwork is slow. You can move around. So he's chasing, running behind this guy. And I was just like, man, his footwork is slow. It was just slow. It was really, you know. Now, as far as so Boots is fine, and I think they'll address it, but they really got some work to do on that, because now people know that they can move away from him.
Absolutely. And, totally agree.
People know that they can move. They're not going to run from him, but they're going to know that they can move when they need to move, and that's not a good thing. Now, as far as Tank, the Tank fight went probably as I thought it would. It was a tough opponent, and you know, Tank did a great job. You know, he had patience. You know, he tries not to get hit, which is a smart thing to do. And you can tell that's kind of the Mayweather influence on him. He really tries not to get hit with big shots. He doesn't take a whole lot of chances, and then he comes at you when he feels comfortable. And that's just what it is. I mean, and so it was a great card last night. From an A-side perspective, unfortunately, Boots didn't get someone who was willing to kind of mix it up and fight. But I still think they did a great job last night. And again, you guys did a good job. This is S1 Dubs, by the way. So, yeah, that's all I have, you know, and I'd like to hear you guys' prediction for 2023 on what might happen. I think if you've already done a video, I'll go look and try to find it, but would like to hear your prediction. That's all I have.
Yeah, we plan to do a prediction, and we'll drop that video soon, man. So I appreciate you calling in, man. I really do. Love.
No problem, man. I'll be listening. Bye.
All right, appreciate you. Jay, we got someone from the 239 calling in right now. You're on the Angry Man podcast.
That's Florida. That's Fort Myers, ain't it?
I want to give a big shout out to Jason. What's up, Jason, man?
Hey, man. Hey.
Why you gotta be like that?
Hey, hold up.
Bro.
Hey, you gotta show me some love too now. I know you're a Kane fan, but come on now. Greg in the building too.
Hey, no, you said too many things, Greg. I love you now. You said too many things about FSU, man. Too many things about FSU. And I don't know why you talking about FSU and you look like Uncle Luke from Miami. I'm just driving with you. Real quick, I just want to say, Speedy Rashidi, he got off his stick, man. He didn't stay on that jab. That's why he lost that fight. He didn't stay on his jab, and that corner man told him that last round, hey, man, you can't get knocked down, man. You can't get knocked down. Also, with Boots, I don't know if it was scripted or what, but he did like 3 ballerina spins. Couldn't catch up with the guy. So I don't know if his father told him, hey, man, look bad, so they'll give you a fight or what, man, because I don't know what that dude was doing, man. He was just off, man. But I just want to give a shout out to Kuya Khan or whatever his name is, because the dude got great footwork, man. And I don't think Boots want to get in there with Errol Spence with superb footwork. I don't think he want
that. He ain't ready. He ain't ready for that. He ain't ready for that, guy.
But I appreciate you guys, man. I thank you for the podcast, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Man, appreciate you, man.
And as always, go Canes.
Bro. Love. No, fuck all that cocaine stuff, bro. All love. Florida in the building. Thank you, sir.
Take care, sir.
All right, later. Oh, man, that
Greg, you ain't shit.
Right there, bud. I do not like your ass, boy. I really don't. I don't know how. I don't know how the fuck we've been friends for 20 years. We got somebody calling in from the 732. You're on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on with you?
What's happening?
Going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
We're doing well, brother. How are you?
Good, man. Just working on my car, listening to y'all, man. Trying to talk on the fights that happened last night. So yeah, man. I didn't catch the Trayvon Marshall fight. I actually wanted to see him because I follow his trainer on Instagram. He looked.
You still there? Yeah, I know Trayvon Marshall was on the prelims, wasn't he? Yeah, he was on the prelims. You still there?
I'm sorry, guys. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Can hear you now.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
We lost the caller, I think.
Oh, yeah. My bad, man. My Bluetooth, sometimes they do something a little funky. My bad there.
Yeah, he was gonna talk about the Trayvon. T Ward said the Marshall fight still on YouTube. So
we got somebody else calling back in. 732 again. Hey, you're back on the Angry Man podcast. My bad, bro.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back. Yeah, man. I was saying Trayvon Marshall fight because I want to see how he did. The Speedy Rashidi fight. Going into that fight, I was thinking about how they were talking about how the winner of Chutsa Kazan and Ennis is going to fight the winner of Speedy Ellis and Villa. So already I had a feeling that if Ellis don't knock him out, they're probably going to give it to Villa because they're probably trying to set up, another Ennis knockout, another, kind of, showcase type of fight. So I already knew if Ellis didn't fight the perfect fight, if he gave an inch, they were going to take that fight from him. So I already knew that was going to happen. And plus the dude did one round in like 2 years. It's like, come on, you can't fight pressure fight, not spectacular shape.
Right.
That was illusion. Boo looked good. I mean, that guy Nicholson, he didn't have enough boxing skills. He could fight though. Tank fight, that was great, man. Tank has great, just a great boxing mind, more so than power. Just a great boxing with the jab and everything. Just man, just from the first round, like he just taking his time. I was more impressed with that than the knockout. Patience. And then the Ennis, man, I was looking for the Mike Tyson. Where was the Mike Tyson at, man?
It was a Mike Tyson that fought Lennox Lewis or something.
Yeah, and you know, that's exactly what he needed to do to knock him out. He needed to do that Mike Tyson, cut the ring off and hit those 3, 4s, 5s combinations. He was just throwing everything like long. He wasn't doing no short punches. So I was expecting to see all that Tyson, but he was more posturing like Tyson than actually fighting like the ferocious Tyson.
Right.
Yeah, but he's definitely going to get better. Obviously, he has the skills, and fighting a different opponent that's actually going to engage him like a Virgil Ortiz, like the fight is still 50-50 to me. So, yeah, man, that was fair. My run.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, man. Really appreciate you calling in and supporting the channel. So yeah, just keep checking us out and checking out the content that we drop, and we'll be dropping something soon. So appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate
y'all.
All right, man. All right, love. All right, man. We got 158 people in the building right now. If you haven't had the opportunity, please go to the AM Sports Media channel. Subscribe to the channel. We are the Angry Man Podcast. We're always dropping content in regards to boxing. And also, if you haven't had the opportunity, please make sure you go check out the Mic Check Podcast with T Ward and Q. They're like a sister channel to us. And we got somebody else calling in, Jay, from 415. So we need to go ahead and make that connection. You are on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. What's going on?
What's happening?
Yeah. Hi, my name is John. I'm from Antioch, California. I was just wanting to talk to you about the fight a little bit. And I just want to say that when I seen Boo Andrade, I think he need a little bit more work. The one with Rashidi Ellis, surprised me. I didn't know he was going to.
Still there, caller?
Fight for Boots. And I just think that, a lot of people is trying to say that Boots, is not the real deal. But he's trying to fight everybody, and nobody is not trying to fight him. So I'm like, if you feel that way, then somebody will have to fight him. And another thing I want to say about Davis Tank, I was watching the fight last night, and I thought Hector was winning. Now, he did get caught with some big shots, but if it wasn't for Tank's power, I think Tank would have lost that fight. And I just want to hear your comments, and, I thank you for having me on.
We appreciate you.
Man, so from my perspective, I thought Tank was winning the fight. I didn't think the fight was close. I didn't think Hector could win that fight with that style. He was sitting back waiting for Tank to actually come in so that he can counter him. And I felt like Tank was the aggressive fighter. Now, in the first few rounds, I felt like, although neither one of the fighters was necessarily landing a whole lot of shots, I felt like because Tank was more aggressive and more effective with his aggression, that he was winning those rounds. But I think the judges might have had the fight scored closer than I did. But so it's possible. I guess it is possible that he could have lost or had maybe a close decision if the fight would have continued. But I just felt like the style that Hector was fighting in, not really throwing a whole lot of punches and not necessarily really initiating offense, just trying to wait for Tank to throw and counter him. I didn't think that was an effective way to actually win that fight. So for me personally, I think at the point in which they stopped the fight, I think I had it 6-2.
Oh, okay. Or what about the Boots one? I mean, because the guy didn't seem like he wanted to win the fight. To me, when I seen it seemed like he was just trying to get out there alive. To me, it seemed like he didn't want to actually win the fight.
Y'all still there? I think Greg may have lost his signal again. Can y'all hear me, or can y'all not hear neither one of us?
Yeah, Jay, we got another caller calling in. 1 second here. Hey, sounds like you, or it looks like you call it from Atlanta, GA, my stomping grounds. What's going on with you?
Hey, how you doing? How y'all guys doing tonight?
Doing well, man. You in the Atlanta area with that 678,
yes,
man.
Sir. You already know. You already know.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm in Rex.
You in Rex?
Rex, REX, Stockbridge area.
Gotcha. Stockbridge, man. I'm up in Jones, Johns Creek.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up right there. Hey, I called to talk about the whole fight card starting from Boo Boo. Boo Boo, he did his thing. I think he still need a little bit more work for that division, but he looked good still. You know, he did his thing.
He got that rust.
From him. You know, then we got the Rashidi Ellis. I felt he got robbed, but the thing about it is it's his fault too, because you only fought one round in 27 months, and you took a guy that basically carried his power through the whole 12 round and didn't really waste a lot of energy throughout the whole fight either. So, they told him last round, don't get caught, and he got caught. So, it's on him,
Yeah, exactly.
And so now the Boots situation, I was kind of upset about that. I saw a lot of, I'm not going to say he got exposed or anything like that, because he didn't get exposed. Boots was Boots still. He was still Boots. The thing was, the guy, he was able to run for 12 rounds, but the thing about it is, if it was Spence or Crawford, the way they cut off the ring and their ring IQ, they still would have, they would have inflicted more pain. They would have did more damage. Possibly even stop the dude the way their footwork is. I saw a lot of chinks in that. Another thing I saw with that fight was, I shouldn't have heard the corner saying, instead of them complaining about him running, make the proper adjustments.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
When Bozy said he's just running the whole fight, he's just running. It pissed me off. Cause I'm just like, I would have never seen Derek James do that. They would have been like, you know what? He running. We gonna do this right here now. I didn't see nothing like that. I saw the frustration on Boots, and I'm just like, if he get in the ring with Spence or Crawford, I said he ain't ready for those guys for that simple reason at all, because the corner not even ready for that type of level of competition,
Yeah, that corner is key. I mean, like you said, Derek James would have never just been complaining about him running. He would have told him how to stop that and how to cut the ring off.
If they don't get touched, and it's gonna be hard for them not to get touched, man. Like, he gonna touch them sometime. He gonna rock them, and if he hit him the way he hit Buddy last night, they going to sleep. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, no, you're right on that. I lost part of you because it looks like Greg's shit is going with that.
Well,
that
you
great
guys
value.
should be able to. No, you guys should be able to hear what he's saying. It's my Bluetooth. My Bluetooth doesn't have anything to do with your ability.
All of it went out.
For him as well?
Yeah, it went out once your Bluetooth came back on. Then I could hear him.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah, I got some more audio engineering to do. All right, man. Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, that was it. I think Boots need to my main fight with last night was really with watching Boots, because I knew Tank was gonna do his thing. So I just needed to see Boots. He should have got that guy out of there. He said that he needed to put out more punch output. Nah, he put out everything that he needed to put out. Another thing, I saw some flaws in Boots, man. Boots,
yes, sir.
He don't change his pace. Like, he's easily telegraphed. If you can make it past a certain round, you're gonna be able to see everything he's throwing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. Don't disagree with that at all. He showed a lot of flaws.
And you never saw that before, because no one ever made it long enough to see that. But he can't do that with like with Crawford. You think he's not gonna get time doing that stuff he did last night?
Exactly.
Man, knockout waiting to happen.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all.
But all my take on it right there, man. I enjoy listening to you guys. So yeah, that's it.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
Love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
So Jay, man, I think we got to go ahead and probably wrap this one up here, because this is the longest one we've ever done, 2 hours and 24 minutes and counting. My Bluetooth is doing some stuff that I can't. It's inexplicable what it's doing, so I don't want to continue with the show and it keeps cutting out or anything like that. But I do want to thank everybody that we have in the chat section. Specifically, I'm going to pause here and give Brenda McDonald a lot of love. A lot of the ideas that you guys see that have materialized on the Angry Man podcast and AM Sports Media was directly from That's fucked up, Jonesy, baby. That's fucked up. That's fucked up, Jonesy. But man, I can take a joke, so that's good. Hey, Jason, you laughing a little too fucking hard. Anyway, no, I want to give Brenda her flowers, because a lot of the ideas that you guys are seeing materialize on our channel came directly from Brenda. She sent me an email, I'm talking about weeks ago, where she was suggesting a number of different things. So I want to say thank you to Brenda for the things that she has suggested. Again, this channel is a community, and this is the reason why I feel that this channel has done well so far, because we are a community. That's all we pretend to be. We don't pretend to be anything else. We don't pretend to be boxing experts. We don't pretend to be anything other than who we are, and we don't pretend to be anything other than a boxing community where people can come together and talk. So those are the things that make this channel great. And again, I want to give our sponsors a lot of credit: Rock Dog Interactive, Black Father Figures, for the contribution that they've made to the channel as well. And I want to show love to everybody that gave us dollars today. It's you guys that help keep the channel going. And so just I'm going to go through here, Jay, specifically T Ward. Shout out to the Mic Check podcast. T Ward is like
Adrian Molina, Jay,
brother. Yeah. Adrian Molina, Jay, Jason Williams, Renee Boxing, Heaven Williams,
Miss
who is
T.
Emmanuel, Miss T, everybody that called in specifically, Steppin' Chocolate Princess. These are all people that we see a scene who gave us $1.99 a day. I can't be more appreciative of that. All the people that have been participants in this channel who come into the comment section and show love, we appreciate you guys. Jay, anything else you want to share?
Nah, man, you held it down while I was out, and this podcast wouldn't be nothing without the people in the chat. I mean, we appreciate y'all so much. We didn't think it was going to come to this like this. This was just something a brainchild Greg pitched to me 3 years ago, actually. And we just kept pushing it back, mainly me. But we're happy to be here, and we're happy for y'all.
No, I'm going to take that as you giving me my flowers, because If you guys know, Jason is a hater. He's one of the biggest haters that I've ever met in my entire life. He hates on me every chance he gets. I've been knowing him for 20 years. He's been hating for 20 years. So it is what it is. Jonesy, baby, appreciate you again, babe. Who else we got in there? Appreciate you guys. So Jay, man, I think that's a show. Again, guys, you can follow us on Twitter, amsports.media. We have a TikTok,
Google.
but I haven't put a lot on there, yo. amsportsmedia.media. We are now on Apple. We are on Google Podcasts. We will be uploading our episodes. So be looking out for that if you just want to hear the audio version. Anything outside of that, Jay? Anything else we need to cover?
We appreciate some of the homers in the chat as well. We appreciate y'all too, the different viewpoints. Some of y'all be wild.
Jay, appreciate you, man, for giving me that love, man. See you later, Brenda. Everybody else, man. Appreciate you guys. You guys will see more content from us this week. We'll be back next week, Sunday, 4 p.m. It might just be me, or maybe T Ward will bless us with his presence again, because Jason has something to go do. He is a slacker. Outside of that, guys, appreciate you guys, man. Peace.
You ain't shit.
You ain't shit either, motherfucker.